Oh, well, everybody know who I want next. I want Crawford next.
You're going to make that happen?
Huh?
You're going to make that happen?
Oh, definitely. That's the fight that I want. That's the fight everybody else want. Like I said, I'm going to get these straps and I'm going to go over there and take his shit too.
All right. Errol, congratulations. Terrific fight this evening.
Thank you, man. Down. Strap season. Y'all know what time it is, baby. Terrence, I'm coming for that motherfucking belt.
All right.
I'm not catching fades anymore. Gotta keep my hands clean when they come for the ball. Keep it smooth like a dawn, making moves in the dark. Cause I learned how to swim in the pool full of sharks. Now they coaches, cause they can't read all his motions. How the kid never switch codes, but he codes with focus. Staring down your team with a frozen, ice cold look that could end the summer solstice. Cause I'm more like the top dog. Keep on running game and the gang will accost y'all. I be calling players from a plane while I'm off court. But we ain't the same, you a lame, I'm a mob star. Actually, I'm a top dog on a stat sheet. Off court, but I call plays for the athletes. Laughing when the cop cars try to catch me. Cause I rolled off in a taxi. With my feet up, I'm relaxing. Singing Figaro with no accent. While I pour strings from the streets in. Do it all with a straight face, I'm the kingpin. Top dog, top flow, boss mode, I'm the kingpin. Showstopper, top dog, God vibes, I'm the kingpin. They know I'm a dog and a beast, man. Yeah, I keep the peace with a peace, man. I ain't got no time for appeasement. Why would I respond to a
Anyway, I'm not gonna let that stop me. So let me see what's going on. What's going on, Gabe? What's happening, bro? What's going on? Charles says, Poole is talking. He said, I can't hear anything. Not sure if he started or not. Man, nobody couldn't hear me from the beginning because I got everything cleared. I can't even get my logo. Well, I don't know where I'm at. The internet is kind of weak. Can you guys hear me? Can anybody hear me? Somebody put it in the man. Can anybody hear me? Can somebody put it in the chat? Let's see. Okay, okay. So yeah, I don't know how much you heard me because this thing just been going crazy today. You know, thing has been going straight crazy. That's crazy. Let me see. So what we're going to talk about is there it is. Everything's falling in. Jesus Christ. It's going, that shit is throwing me off. Okay, can you hear me now, man? You know. Yeah, Devin, man, he can't get past this fight. Look at that. That just popped up. Can you hear me? Jesus Christ. Not anymore. You can't hear me now? Okay. All right. Hopefully it stays that way, stay stable. You know, I got my Verizon on. Usually I have no problem with the Verizon, but you know how it goes. Well, man, Jaron Boots Ennis, man, you know, the expectations, you know what I'm saying, for Boots right now, you know, he's been stamped, you know what I'm saying, the next one in line to take over boxing. You know, he's a generational talent and he passes the eye test for most people. You know, I know a lot of people ain't on the Jaron Boots Ennis train, but man, Jaron Boots Ennis is a bad boy. You know, even though you can question, you know, some of the fighters he fought at left that division, you know, he didn't get to fight the Keith Thurmans. He didn't get to fight the Danny Garcias or the Sean Porters. They were kind of at the end of their career when Boots came along. I think he would have made. I think he would have beat some of those guys. I think he definitely would have beat Danny Garcia. I think he would have beat Ugas. I think he would have beat everybody. Errol Smith Jr. You beat. I don't know about Keith Thurman when he was on top of his game. Different, just a little bit too much, and he forgets to, you know, what I'm saying, to use that movement for defense. But when he concentrates on his defense, he's good. He's good, but he got to put it together, a little bit more. Not that I'm saying that he can't do it, but whatever he's doing in camp, he got to make sure the balance is there, the offense and the defense while he's putting on the show. Because he's definitely open when he's trying to, when he's trying to go in for a kill. I think he got that killer mentality. But now that he's fought Mantis Stanionis, all of a sudden Mantis Stanionis become a bomb, and I think that because he took so many step aside fights, and it took so long for him to get a big fight at 147. Now he's kind of like journeyman type of status. And then when Jaron Boots Ennis fought him, he just didn't seem like he was in shape. It didn't seem like he was ready for Jaron Boots Ennis. I thought his stamina was better than Villa, but actually Villa was more tougher than Estanios, right? So he don't get a lot of credit for what he did at 147, even though I think he kind of built his myth and his legend at 147. Um, I mean, you could see it, in his speed, in his athletic ability. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was telling Boots, "Hey, man, it ain't nothing, to get undisputed at 147 to be like Crawford getting undisputed at 140, right? Nobody gives a shit. You know what I'm saying? People, you got to have your rival. You got to fight, names, people who can fight, like people who the boxing fans respect, like Vergil Ortiz, right? Now Vergil Ortiz was getting it too down there at 147. He wasn't fighting nobody. Then he got Falumaloon by Green Machine, right? So he was talking Crawford, Crawford, Crawford. Everybody was talking about Crawford, right? Down there when they was at 147. But then once they ran into a little trouble, Boots ran into trouble with Karen, Vergil ran into trouble with Green Machine, and what I forgot what the other guy name was that were running around giving them a little trouble. And all of a sudden the everybody calling out, Bud, stop. You know what I'm saying? So it was just interesting, one bad performance, what I'm saying, kind of, knocks them out of the imagination of fighting Bud Crawford, who had the belts then when he was trying to contemplate fighting Canelo. And I never thought that fight would happen. I don't even know where that fight came from, but they were working on it. So that's why Bud didn't want to fight anybody, because he was working on that big payday with Canelo. And I give it to Bud. I think he's paid his dues in boxing to pretty much fight who he wants. You know what I'm saying? That's how boxing is going. A lot of the old heads, they don't want to accept it, but I think Bud paid his dues. You know what I'm saying? As far as being in boxing as long as he has been, right, and not getting the recognition that he should have got, right? And I don't. I mean, I'm with y'all on the resume and everything. I'm with y'all on that, man. I don't think the man fought the best, but like people say, what I'm saying, you can only fight who's in your era, right? I'm not talking about the PPS stuff. That was, what I'm saying, he never got the fights on time, but he did fight Kell Brook and he did fight Sean Porter. I think at their worst, but we're not going to go into debate about that. You know what I'm saying? The man got the victory and he moved on. Just like when he fought Madrinoff at 154, he just slipped in, got him a belt, and then moved on. Despite what y'all say about the performance, it was a competitive fight. And I know people say Madrinoff, saying he's not this and that, but the man came in with a weird game plan. And Bud, he had to piece it out. The man thinks on the fly. And I thought it was impressive, because I thought that style was ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? All that fainting and shit. And what I'm saying? Bud took his time, figured that shit out, and got it done. You know what I'm saying? I thought he won clearly, you know. But the ridicule, that Boots is taking going up to 154, it's kind of crazy, The fans, if you're gonna be dubbed the stamp, the next great, and you got all these expectations, you gotta, take the challenge. And I think I think Tim Bradley is being a little bit too harsh by asking Boots, where your balls at and all this stuff. I thought that was just, you know, Just a little bit too much, but we know how Tim Bradley is, right? And I don't know why is he on Jaron Boots Ennis. I don't know why he's on Jaron Boots Ennis the way he is. He's not a part of Top Rank, or he's not a part of their system, right? So I don't know. I guess because Boots has been mentioned in the same kind of realm with Bud Crawford, or wanting to get that fight with Bud Crawford. Everybody's trying to make it seem like Boots is just going to get destroyed. Now we just watched Bud Crawford go up, two weight classes, whatever you want to call it, and he challenged himself to be great, right? And he got it done. Everybody was saying Canelo was going to destroy Bud. That is just too much weight. That's the conventional thinking, right? That's the conventional thinking, right? But Bud went up there and got it done. So why Boots can't do the same? Why can't Boots? Boots got an even bigger frame than Crawford. I know people say the experience. He's got the same uphill battle, right? But Bud's already said he's not coming down. So people are still going to talk about that fight, just like they're talking about Bud Crawford fighting David Benavidez, right? That sounds crazy, But what's probably going to happen is Bud is going to rematch Canelo. That's probably what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? And everybody's talking all this shit about what could be. And Bud said he's not coming back down. So he's probably going to stay at 168 and fight Canelo again. Or he's going to make Bivol or one of them come down and to 168 for the belts, because he is undisputed, right? So he do have something to offer. And he's got the Turk in his pocket. So that's that. But what Boots got the world spotlight on him. He got the world spotlight on him. So I'm interested to see how is he going to move. Is he going to disappoint boxing fans? You know what I'm saying, with this Lima move, you know. I think the fight is on and popping right now, but we can't criticize Boots too much, and this is why. Because if you look at Vergil Ortiz two fights, if you look at Vergil Ortiz two fights, his first fights at 154 was Fred Lawson and Thomas Delorme. Nobody said shit. Nobody said nothing. So if he could fight Frederick Lawson, and he could fight Thomas Delorme to get his feet wet, why can't Boots fight a Lima? He's going up to a new weight class, and I think it was Greg Hackett was saying, on YSM Media. You know what I'm saying? He says he's fighting bigger guys, that the offense they'll be easier to hit. But Boots going to be getting hit by bigger guys, stronger guys. So he's going to have to, go in and think about that defense a whole lot more than he did at 147, because he could absorb those guys' punches. He got hit clean down there at 147. It was powerful. I mean, them guys was hitting Boots. But if can he take the same kind of wear and tear up at 154? He can't afford that shit to be getting hit with those overhand rights. You know what I'm saying? Can he afford that? You know what I'm saying? And so he's going to have to, I know he got good defense, but he can't afford, to make the same mistakes that he made at 147. Because I think those guys there's a lot more talent at 154. There's a lot more talent, I'm looking at guys coming up. I'm looking at these white guys coming up with hands like Callum Walsh. You know what I'm saying? Some of these guys going to be, if you don't go in there, on top of your game, some of these guys are going to clean your clock. Yeah, I'm watching Callum Walsh. He's at super middleweight. That's right. I forgot Callum Walsh is at super middleweight. That'll be a good fight. I want to see Callum Walsh again in the ring. That was my first time seeing him fight. I was impressed. By him. But at 154 with Bokachuk, with Bakhram, Murtazaliev, you got what's the other dude name? Madinov. Those are some fights that's gonna give Boots some issues. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully, when he fight Liam, we'll see what Boots look like at 154. Do the power carryover? You know what I'm saying? The little bit of extra weight that he picked up. Will that hold him back, or will it, help him out? Fighting at a healthier weight, because he's a big dude. I just want to see if how he looks at 154. He said, I agree. He said, him needing to just perfect that. Yeah, he's got to perfect it, Charles. He says, it's time to let the era go where boxers just came about that. Oh, yeah, yeah, I agree. He says that Bud is three times undisputed 5 champion. He's not a victim. Yeah, he's definitely not that. I get tired of hearing that shit. You know what I'm saying? I get tired of hearing the fans whine about that shit. Oh, my bad. I just came and seen the link 2 cents. Let me see how can I let me get that link in. Hold on. I don't be wanting to hear that shit. You know, Bud's on top of the world now. You know, so he can leave that narrative alone. You know, he's on top of the world. He did it. He beat the odds. You know what I'm saying? So it's no longer do he need, you know what I'm saying, that victim type shit going on. Cause you know, he just beat the #1 headband. You know, he beat Canelo Alvarez. He's going down in the history books right now. So I don't see why so many people are feeling sorry. How can you be the king of the sport and you still on this victim shit? You know what I'm saying?
They saw winners pool.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Cause I get tired of hearing it, you know. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, what more do you want? You
I
know,
seen you hop off the panel last night. You said I can't hear this
yeah.
shit.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to wait for them to get, you know, say something fresh or, you know what I'm saying, bring a new perspective, and they still with that, oh, Bud, they never wanted him to win, and Bud just, I'm like, bro, I can't even listen through this shit. You know what I'm saying? That's like, come on now. It's like, let's get it. We give the man his props. You know what I'm saying? What more do you want? You know what I'm saying? Do you want to go in the alley and satisfy this dude? What the fuck's going on? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, Jesus, right.
I came up here to tell you a funny story, Paul. Have you seen the those Exodus Files documentary?
The Exodus Files.
Yeah,
No,
have you seen? It's a guy in the documentary, right? And I said I'm gonna call him Leroy. Like he sound like his name Leroy. Like he got that old school voice. Sound like he got Crown Royal change in the bag or something. So when you came on the panel last night, and then you got off the panel, that people was messaging me. They was like, 2 cents. I think that who was Paul Counter? I think that's Leroy from the documentaries. I say, no, that's not Leroy. He sound like him, but that ain't him. I thought that was so funny. But you gotta watch
Leroy.
the.
Who the hell?
It's
Go
just a
ahead.
name I made up for the guy in the documentary because he sound like, like an old school guy. You know what I'm saying? Like he got that swag, like he old school.
hmm Well, yeah, you know, I am old school. You know what I'm saying? It's like I just see it how I see it. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I didn't know. I said somebody probably gonna talk some shit, but I don't be caring. You know what I mean? You
Nah,
know
they
how
think they
I
think you the guy from the documentaries.
Leroy.
I said we're gonna call him Leroy, y'all. I named him Leroy. It's funny though.
Said Bud said a lot of stuff. Yeah, yeah. But you know what's interesting is, you know, how much media coverage, you know, so what he's doing. He's on Monday Night Football. You know what I'm saying? You know, we've been saying this for years that Bud should get himself out there, right? Do the interviews, promote himself. Now you can't stop him from shutting up. You know what I'm saying? He's all over the place, you know what I'm saying, promoting himself. So, you know, maybe he just thought that, you know what I'm saying, those venues were too small. You know, he don't even look at the Aerosmith Jr. fight like it was you know, a top fight. You know, he was saying that was like an urban fight, you know what I'm saying, for the black people. You know what I'm saying? Whereas the Maginot fight was, you know what I'm saying, a worldwide fight. So I don't know why Bud look at things the way he do, but I know he could fight in the ring. You know, so you may not like his personality, you may not like how, you know, he kind of moves and how he talks a little bit, but he's getting better. You know, he's getting better. He's getting more conscientious of what he says, and I know he kind of parse what he says and stuff so he don't mess up. But you know, I mean, you know, the man's on top of the world. I got to give it to him. But
I gotta
I'm
ask you a
looking at
question about Boots.
go ahead.
How come how come you think it's not really recognized how much Boots is like really ducked in real life? And how come his unified at 47 doesn't mean anything? Right? Because
Because man, go ahead.
you got one fighter, resume questionable, whatever, but it's always the accolades, the accolades, the accolades. You got another fighter who you like. Everybody knows he was ducked. It's not a question. It's not a he could have did this to get this. None of that. He was literally legitimately ducked at the division, and everybody tried to wait him out, which is what happened till they felt like he could probably no longer make the weight. And right before it was time for him to move up, you got everybody coming out saying they want to fight him, and then he moves up. Now it's like, oh, he a duck. He ain't fight him. Versus it being, everybody was ducking him at the division. He was able to unify, and then he moved up. Like that. Why is that not the narrative? That could be the narrative also. Like, why is that not the narrative? You wouldn't even think Boots ever unified nothing. They never mention it when they talk about him.
Yeah, well, this is a popularity contest nowadays. It depends on who you like. Whoever you like, that's what you're going to back the narrative. If you like EJ, you're going to back that narrative. If you like Bud, you're going to back that narrative. If you like Boots, you're going to back that fighter. That's what's going on nowadays. You know what I'm saying? People pick and choose, what they want to believe, and they run with the narrative of, and they find the facts, what they call it, confirmation bias. You know what I'm saying? That's what's going on in boxing today. You get behind, the person that you believe is the best. And right now, I don't really understand why Boots is in the same conversation as Bud Crawford, because he came way behind Bud. And if Boots was to go out there and dominate Bud tomorrow, people are going to say Bud aged out. You know what I'm saying? They're going to make up excuses. You know what I'm saying? Or if Bud beat up Jaron Boots Ennis, they're going to say he was too green. You know what I'm saying? That's how far apart that they are. Even though Boots got like what, 20, 30 fights, something like that. You know
He
what I'm
got
saying?
30
That's what,
fights. They like a decade
yeah,
apart.
right. But that's what I'm saying. Crawford has I think he has I think he has earned to move on because he's an older fighter. You know what I'm saying? Boots came a little late. Now, Bud, they're not passing the torch nowadays. They ain't doing that shit. What they doing them right now. You see Tank doing him. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's doing them. You know what I'm saying? So this is the new way of boxing. I was agreeing with that guy that was on your panel. I don't know what his name was, but he was making good points. He said, we're trying to judge these guys by the old rules, but boxing is different now, and people just don't want to accept that. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
And that's
guys can do
another
what they want.
point that I was trying to make too, Paul, not to cut you off, but that's another point that I was trying to make as far as Bud Crawford. Like, y'all keep trying to compare him to Floyd when there's no comparison to Floyd. He will never, ever, nothing he can do will compare to Floyd. However, he's in his own category and he ushered in a new mentality into boxing. Now, you can either agree with it or not agree with it, but that's what people that are great are able to do. They're able to can't come in and change the way things are done. We've never seen a fighter come into boxing and move how Bud moved and get the accomplishments that he got. We've never seen that. And so then if you got fighters coming in and the mentality shift from the Floyd mentality of making the money, being a star, da-da-da's, keeping your O and all this other stuff to focus on accolades, being at the right place at the right time, keeping yourself in position, the boxing has changed now because it's no longer going to be we want to see you fight the most competitive fights or people we perceive to be competitive. It's not that no more. It's I want the least risk for the most money and I'm focusing on accolades. And
Yep.
that's what it
Yep.
is.
And we've seen that, of course, people they kind of like focus on Money Mayweather, but they never focus on Pretty Boy Floyd. They act like Pretty Boy Floyd never existed. You know, the guy who had to go up the ranks before he fought Oscar De La Hoya that made Mayweather into a major star, right? They just forget about that. All them hard fights that he went through, Duegas Corrales, you know what I'm saying? Castile, you know what I'm saying? The first champion, he fought Genevieve, I think. They forget about all that shit. You know what I'm saying? He fought some tough fights that he was supposed to lose. Even some journeymen were tough back then. They forget about Pretty Boy Floyd. They only focus on Money Mayweather. And even I would argue that Money Mayweather fought some Madonna. He fought some tough guys. He fought Madonna. He fought Pacquiao. Um, you know what I'm saying? Even Money Mayweather fought competitive fights. You know what I'm saying? And it's like they just overlook that. But to answer your question about why they don't look at, they don't respect Jaron Ennis titles at 147, because if you look at Emmanuel Stanios, I think Vergil could have beat him. Anybody that Jaron Boots Ennis beat at 147, most people think that Vergil Ortiz could have beat. You know what I'm saying? So he don't look. It's not looked at something as special, because Vergil moved up, and if I don't think those guys seemed like they was that dangerous. People didn't know who Bill was. A lot of people barely knew who Estanios was. So that's why he don't get the respect, because those names don't really ring out. Now, if he would have beat Sean Porter, those names are better known than at Keith Thurman. He just kind of came, a little late in the game to get those accolades and stuff. And they would have been just right for Jaron Boots Ennis if he came at the end of their career. Ugas, if he would have got Ugas, you know what I'm saying? I think he would have started to shine a little bit more. Right now, it's a dead division. I mean, you got some up and coming people, but right now, until they stop fighting and make a name for themselves, you're not going to get no glory for being undisputed at 140. I mean, not 140, 147, right? So now he's got to go up to where all the action is, where 154, and he got to make better moves. He's got to make the right moves, because he can't go out there and look bad against Lima. If Lima come out there and bust his ass, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be, he's going to have, it's going to be damage control. It's going to be crazy. If he go out there and get knocked down by this unknown Angolan warrior, you know what I'm saying, from the Sudan or wherever the hell that is in Africa, he's going to be looking crazy, And I just.
But that's only because people don't know who. That's the thing. Like, I'm not saying you're gonna get knocked down. I definitely don't think that's gonna happen. But when people are fighting people you don't know, like, that doesn't mean that they don't have a decent skill level and can be competitive. That's why I don't think it's
like I just said. If he goes out here, he can't afford to look bad. Just like Bud, like when he fought Madronov, people were saying Madronov, took Bud to the task, right? And you've seen the criticism he got. It's no way he could beat Canelo because Madronov, was more competitive. Was so competitive, right? Bud went out there and proved him wrong. It could be a situation like that. They said, I think it was Greg Hackett was saying, like, he don't know this guy. What I'm saying? He don't know nothing about this guy. He just took this guy, off the shelf. Well, he came off a victory. He did come off a TKO victory. But look at the level of competition. Like we say, we don't know really how good he is. I looked at a couple of fights of his. He don't look like somebody that's going to give Boots any trouble, because he's not a technical boxer. He's a slugger. He's got power, but he looks slow. He was getting that ass ate up by Aaron McKinnon. He's getting outboxed clearly. But he can't catch you. Like Rockton caught Lennox Lewis. So if he get caught slipping like that, it's going to be ugly. But what I predict is that Boots is going to go out there and he's going to, put on a good show. I think that's what's going to happen. Like you said.
Do you know Boots has only lost, I think, like 5 rounds out of his whole career?
That's crazy. That's crazy. But does that speak to what level or his greatness, or does it represent?
I think it speaks to his skill. I keep hearing, and I'm using Bud for a comparison because I think it's a good comparison, not about them or their skill levels, but about the narratives. Because you keep hearing, okay, well, maybe Bud ain't got the greatest resume, but his skill level, he got the great skill, his skill level. And then I'm like, okay, well, we talking about skill level. Boots has only lost 5 rounds, and that was in his last 2 or 3 fights when he started losing rounds. Up until that point, he had never even lost a round. So I'm thinking, when you're talking about somebody skill level and you want to give them credit, why aren't y'all saying that about Boots? Like, my question is, like, what is Boots not doing for y'all to continue to give him the level of credit? He's not fighting who you want him to fight. He's unified at 47. The man barely lose. Like, y'all keep saying he get hit too much. He barely losing rounds in his whole career. And I just think that they don't be objective. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all don't
Yeah.
really be objective. And I agree he do need to get the names on his resume and do all that. I don't disagree with that. I've always said he should focus on becoming a star, in my opinion, versus focusing on accolades, because he has to be the reward. All you keep hearing is Boots is high risk, low reward, high risk, low reward. He should have made himself a high reward. And that way, in my opinion, these fights he would have been able to get a little bit easier, because the issue of people wanting to fight him is money.
Well, money and, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, you position yourself to get the belts. And I think the problem is that the prestige is being taken off the sport, the belts. People don't care about that. They want you to get your profile up. So it's the big name that draw the people, you know what I'm saying? Like right now at 154, I think if he would have fought Vergil Ortiz, I think that this would like really start to elevate him, you know what I'm saying, from, you know what I'm saying, out of the void, right? You know what I'm saying? Fight Vergil Ortiz, fight a name, you know, go out there and beat Tszyu, you know what I'm saying, who represents Australia, a whole country, you know. I think Tszyu is damaged goods right now, but he still carry a name. I think you know, if you start doing that, fight a Erickson Lubin, you know what I'm saying? You know, fight somebody who can fight, somebody who's in the top 15, you know, or top 10. You know what I'm saying? I think that would have, you know, kind of like boost him up there, you know, because his name is starting to resonate with people. People got the high expectation for Boots, you know,
I
and
think
he's
as
gonna
long
have to
as he's with Eddie, he's gonna keep getting criticized. Eddie does not know how to, one, promote in America, and two,
right.
promote an African American fighter in America. He doesn't know how to do that.
Yeah, that was top rank Aaron what's the name? Shit, I can't even, I'm getting old. I can't even think of the promoter name. Bob Aaron
Bob,
problem. Yeah, that was Bob Aaron problem, you know. Shit, even Oscar De La Hoya don't know how to promote no damn black fighters. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's why Errol Smith Jr. went with PBC, PBS, damn PBS, PBC. You know what I'm saying? Because Oscar De La Hoya don't promote black fighters. You know, nobody really wants to promote black fighters, no matter how great they are. So, you know, look like independence is best, you know, for black fighters. Even PBC is starting to lose, you know, the black fighters and stuff. They lost Boots to Matchroom, you know.
They
It's
never
just they're
had
having.
Boots. Boots was with Showtime and Cameron Duncan.
Oh, that's right. That's right. He wasn't signed. He wasn't signed on with PBC, but he was fighting on
No,
cards, right? PBC
he was
cards,
fighting on
right?
their cards, like affiliated, but he
Right,
wasn't with them. You know,
right. But you know, they just not promoting them right. You know, these most of these promoters, and I don't think they're really interested in promoting black fighters. They want to get their own. You know, they want to get the Europeans and they want to get the Mexican fighters. They want to get those stars because they think that's what people want to see. They think people are tired of seeing niggas dominate the sport.
they never
Go
will
ahead.
be. They never. If you don't have, listen. I feel like they keep trying this whole European and these people being the head or the face of the sport, and I feel like it never works when they try that. Every time you look back at times when boxing and is booming, you got a black heavyweight that's a champion, and you got the black fighters dominating the glamour divisions.
Yeah,
And
that was the demise of HBO. Don't you agree? You know, trying to
yeah,
bring in the
that's what I'm saying. Then they start trying to spin a narrative when that didn't work, that it was Al Heyman's fault HBO went under. And I'm like, how that work? Y'all up here trying to make what's his face to face? What's the dude name?
G,
what?
I
Come
can't
on,
think of that dude.
Triple G will
HBO.
pay.
Triple G.
HBO. Mm-hmm. Go.
Yeah, you got
So
What's
Kovalev after
Govern?
that. So pushing the
Go ahead,
European
JB.
fighters. Yeah, what we like from this? We get to this Saturday. I think we're 3 weeks away from Boots fight against Lima. Just 3 weeks from this Saturday, so we'll see what he do. I don't mind Boots taking tune up type of fight in his debut at 154. Get his feet wet, coming up from 147, test his skills against a bigger guy, harder punches, and see how he looks. But in his next fight, he must take on one of the top guys at 154, whether it be a Bakhram or Vergil Ortiz or a Majimov. Fight one of the top guys at 154 in your next fight. I don't mind the Lima fights as much as a lot of other people, saying that why he fight the guy that we don't know. I'm like you, Poole. I seen his fight against McKinnon. So he got outpointed, but he's kind of like a straight come forward guy. He got a lot of heart. He just got limited skills. So he gonna put his best foot forward versus Boots. But it's a fight that Boots should look good in if he brings his A game. His style is tailor made for Boots. He come forward, but without too many tricks coming forward. He's basic coming forward. So a guy with the skill set of Boots should pick him apart. Kind of like he did with Stayonis. He kind of similar to Stayonis. I don't even think he's good at Stayonis, but his style is kind of similar to Stayonis. And we seen what Boots did with Stayonis. He showed that he was a levels above Stayonis. I think he's gonna do the same thing with Lima. But after the Lima fight, he's got to get in there with the top guys at 154.
Yeah, these guys gotta want to fight him too, y'all. Like, these people gotta want to fight him too. Vergil, like, if y'all haven't noticed, and I know people don't want to admit it now because then they gotta admit that Boots didn't duck Vergil, but Vergil is attaching himself to all the big fighters at 54 and acting like they ducking him. How many people have quote unquote duck Vergil? Thurman, Boots, Charlo, who else? Like who you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, they said they offered him a contract 50-50 to fight on his own, but he was telling them to come to Puerto Rico. And they was like, well, why are we gonna do that? We offer you the opportunity. When you gonna fight in Puerto Rico, Top Rank don't have a TV deal. So why are you talking about Puerto Rico? So that's why that fight could come to fruition. But they tried to make that fight happen, and the fight was Boots. But Boots wasn't ready to go to 54 at that time. He was still trying to see what was going on at 147. And I think when they was proposing the fight to happen maybe in August, I think Vergil was hurt. He had a hand injury. And Boots was still trying to decide what he was going to do and stuff like that. So they didn't come to fruition for August 16th. So now we're here. I don't think they're going to fight next either. So I just think Vergil Ortiz, and they're going to move on in the other direction and try to find, they were fighting, I think they're fighting Erickson Lubison on November 8th. So that's the next fight for Vergil Ortiz. And if he gets the win there, they'll probably look to fight one of the top guys at 154, one of the champions after that. So I think they pretty much moved on from the Boots fight. The Boots got to move on from this fight. Maybe they can fight somewhere down the line, but right now it's just, it's a fight that could have happened but never did materialize for many reasons.
I'm gonna tell you.
Cool. What weight was Callum Walsh?
He was at super middle. Him and Vargas, he destroyed Vargas, bro. I was going to talk about that later, because that fight was awesome. That was my first look at this guy. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why my shit's slow.
Callum Walsh looked like food. He looked like food to me, Poole.
Oh, Callum Walsh?
Yes, Vargas was trash, Poole. He was trash. And Callum Walsh looked like food.
Man, Callum Walsh was eating his ass up, bro. I mean,
early on, looked good. But second half of the fight.
Look at Callum Walsh's hand, Poole. Look at his hand. He is gonna get beat up. He is food.
Man, I don't know about that. I don't know. That boy there, his speed, his reflexes, man. I don't know. He looked. I know Vargas is unproven, and Callum is unproven, but just he impressed me, man. I was like, look at this dude. The way he teeing off on Vargas Jr. I went with Vargas Jr. I thought Vargas Jr. was gonna get him, and then from the very
he had no business in the ring with Callum Walsh.
I ain't lying.
He was Callum Walsh. I mean, young, ain't he? Fighter. Callum Walsh, he's kind of young, right? I think he's kind of young, so he got a chance to get better. He's kind of green right now, but I kind of like what I've seen early on in the fight. But later on, he kind of slowed down. I don't know if that was due to the fact that he hadn't been on that stage before fighting that type of opponent. He might have.
He looked good to me, man.
I saw early on. He looked real impressive early on. He looked better early than he did late. So he got a chance to grow.
He get in there with. Not even top tier competition, just any competition. He is food. He was not good to me. He did a lot of things that Vargas just couldn't capitalize on because he was so limited in his offense. He just wasn't good. Like, he wasn't ready for that fight. But you move him up and you step up his competition. In my opinion, I don't think he wins.
Well, look at this.
You know what
The
happened?
man only the
I
man
know that.
only got 15 fights. He only got 15 fights. He got 11 KOs, so he's got some power behind him. He got some pop, and he's got room to improve. But in this division, he's going to have to be careful. I think Erickson Lubin would be a good fight to see how he kind of like if he could survive Eric Lubin, he could probably, get better and probably fight the other guys, Fundora. I think he'll give Xander some issues, man. I think he'll give Anders probably the weakest link, you know.
Xander
And
fool too.
yeah, Xander
Gonna have
probably
two
the weakest
plates in the
link
ring.
because
Yeah,
I
he
can't see that dude fucking with
Xander.
Sebastian Fedora. And it's a Bass dude too. Y'all seen that fight with him and what's his name? The Cuban guy, Yotel or something, Yozel or whatever. That fight was off the chain, bro. They got all these foreign names, a Bass, Baru or whatever, Baru or whatever. That dude
Yeah,
there, that's that motherfucker. That could fight, man. You know what I'm saying? And he's got the same problem that these little short arm dudes. They got to get on the inside. You know what I'm saying to fight. And I think that's food for Callum Walsh. I think Callum Walsh gonna have a field day with guys
you
like
know,
that if he's stronger. Yeah, yeah, you heard it here on Pool Counter Boxing. I think that Callum. Well, I mean,
too.
Callum Walsh, he's that super. I keep forgetting. He's that super middle. I keep forgetting. He's
Yeah,
that
150.
super middle.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
168.
I
Okay,
keep
okay.
trying. I guess it's so many white people at 154. I keep trying to group them with those guys. But I think Boots could get that belt from Xander Zayas tomorrow. I don't know about Bakhram, Montaliv, cause that motherfucker there, he got
Didn't
power.
Bakhram fight on the card?
Nah, he
No,
didn't fight.
No,
no.
who
He
was
told me
that fought on the card? Adam. Who fought Adams?
Boycheck fought.
Uh,
Byron
Oh,
Adams.
Boachek. Yeah,
that
it
was
was Boachek.
Boycheck lost.
Man, you know what? Adams is he coming from 60. So he's used to fighting and getting hit by bigger guys. He stopped Boachuk in the first time he fought Boachuk. He was the one who kind of, brought him down to earth. And so, he went in there and just outpowered him, man. I mean, he was just outboxed him, outpowered him, out everything. Boachuk. I was really surprised by that. Because I guess because I was gauging him against Vergil, how he did against Vergil Ortiz, and they need to run that back. Vergil and Bokachuk need to run that back, but I don't think Vergil want to really risk it. You know what I'm saying? Seeing as how
That's
uh say that again. Say what,
lost.
JB?
I said,
You thought he lost?
they ain't got to fight. He coming off a loss too, Boycheck. So Virgil Ortiz really gonna say, well, why would I fight him coming off a loss? So he kind of
Well,
took
shit, he
himself out
knocked
of
you
the.
down 2 times. He knocked your ass down 2 times. That's why. He put a blemish. You look bad. He made you look bad. That's why. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's like, dude, you
he,
hit the canvas twice. Yeah.
yeah, he gonna get a win. You know how boxing works, though. He gonna get a win. He ain't getting no Ortiz fight off a loss. He got beat decisively in that fight. I think Boycheck will be a good fight for. Well, I'm thinking about he had 168, but I think Boycheck still get back in the mix, but he got to get a win. He got to get a win against a decent opponent, and he can get back in the mix for a fight. Some of the top guys at 154. Virgil Ortiz, he has a fight lined up anyway. He's fighting Erickson Lubin November 8th, so he already got a big fight lined up. So I don't know what
Well,
Boycheck for this loss. He got to get back in line, man. Build himself back up.
those going to be his two toughest fights right there. That backroom, Murtazaliev, and Sebastian Fundora. Now, I could be wrong, but I think he'll get them other two. I think he'll get the WBO and the WBA. But man, he gonna catch hell with that WBC, and that IBF where he's in line to fight Bakhram. You know what I'm saying? Since he's on the IBF line. So that's gonna be fight of the year right there. If he fuck around and fighting Bakhram, oh my God. Man, that's gonna be off the chain.
I
Especially the
think
way
I think
Boots fight. Hmm.
I think Boots gonna go the WBA route. He gonna kind of do what he did at 147. He could have went the WBO route and try to fight Crawford with the IBF route and try to get in line to fight Spence. He went the IBF route at 147. I think Eddie Hearn and them and his team, they gonna go the WBA route. Bud got stripped as soon as he got announced in the ring to fight Canelo. They took that belt from him. So the belt is vacant at in the WBA at 154. So he can fight that guy that beat Chile. That guy named Barahu. I think he beat Tellez. I think Barral was supposed to fight Jamel, but they talking about Jamel might fight Spence, so Jamel might bypass that title opportunity. I think the next in line will be Boots. Boots might that guy Barral, who after he beat Lima, he can fight for the vacant WBA belt, get a belt, and add more leverage to him, then he can maybe chase unification after that. You know, maybe a Bakhram or Fundora or somebody like that. I think he's gonna go the WBA route. He ain't going that IBF route. They ain't fighting Bakhram. I don't know why, because Bakhram to me is a guy that's getting a lot of praise off of one win. Beat Tszyu. Tszyu had just got through being in a bloody war with Fundora, so I don't think he was at his best. His best days are gone, if you ask me. So Bakhram got in there and stopped him. And it was dominant and it stopped him. So that was a good win. I ain't saying it was a good win, but I think people overvaluing that win. I want to see him against Josh Kelly. If he beat Josh Kelly, stop him or dominate him, then I give him his credit. But he's gonna be fighting a guy with a different style, a guy that can box, a guy that's a very good good jab, a guy that knows how to fight on the outside, control his opponent from the outside, a guy that brings a little bit different skill set than a Tszyu. So I'm gonna be interested to see that fight with Bakhram and Josh Kelly, see how he look at that fight before I just jump on the Bakhram hype train.
Well, Tszyu, you know, a lot of his shine was taken away when he fought when he took that loss to Fundora. You know, before that, people thought Tszyu was that dude. They thought he was, you know, he was the heir apparent. You know what I'm saying? He was the great white hope at 154. You know what I'm saying? It's like he was the guy to beat. You know, then he ran into Fundora, and Fundora just kind of diminished him. You know, especially when he, you know, that bloody fight they had, and
Timmy was always food. I thought they was gonna feed him to Charlo though. Because if you look at Tim's resume, who was he really fighting? He was fighting names, but he was fighting people on short notice, fighting old. But you know what I'm saying? Like his resume ain't that great.
What was this? Tony Harrison? You know what I'm saying? I thought Tony Harrison was gonna get that ass, you know. But Tony Harrison was gonna, he looked like he was a lot. Say that again. Do you got something? Your mic, it sounds like you're talking through a tunnel. So like you're talking through a phone graph.
Yeah, I'm in the car driving. Yeah, I'm in
Oh, okay. He said that's his religion. Let me see what's going on, aircraft. He says he didn't have an excuse because he still knocked him out. He said he just ain't do it as easy as he wanted because it was during Ramadan. You know what I'm saying? That Ramadan was hell. Motherfucker can't eat, drink. He says they gassed him because of his dad is a legend. You know, that nigga don't fight nothing like Costa Zoo. You know what I'm saying? He did a whole interview explaining how he wasn't at full strength for training camp. You know, it is what it is, you know. You gotta make sure you're straight when you come up in there, you know. Your reputation is on the line. You know, every time, man, you know, whatever the problem is, you know, you signed up, you stepping up to the plate, and your reputation is on the line. I hate it for Big Tim, but he fought guys that, you know, that wasn't ready. He fought guys that was, you know, kind of at the end of their career. So somebody took advantage of him. And that's how boxing goes, you know, you get your karma. They say karma is
I
a
think
motherfucker.
that tough stuff really you know, that tough go out on your shield, all that. Like I think it's a fine line with that. They definitely should have stopped that fight, that first Fundora fight.
Yeah, you know, but you know, Tim wanted to go, you know, go down the way he went. So, you know, and that Fundora man is crazy, you know, to be that size, to be that tall, to be that long at 154. And that's supernatural, man. Then he knows how to jab, then he knows how to fight on the inside. That is crazy. You
He
know,
dangerous. I keep telling people, pull like they for some reason people feel like Fundora can't fight. And of course he's not an elite, you know, he's not the elitist of the elite, but he's a decent fighter and he got those attributes. If Fundora just got his head off the line a little bit, he would be tough to beat. He already tough to beat. But if he got a shoulder roll or if he got a little bit better defense, he'll be unstoppable, in my opinion.
yeah, and he's already aggressive. You know what I'm saying? He's already aggressive. They lucky that he just, you know, let that jab do the majority. You know what I'm saying? Coming back, You know what I'm saying? With the what is he? Lefty? Is he a southpaw? Is he a southpaw? I
Yeah,
can't remember.
southpaw.
Yeah, he's a
I think it's
southpaw.
southpaw.
Yeah, he just hits you with that jab 100 times and can come with that straight left. That's all he does. Now he got the uppercuts too, but I noticed that he's been working on his jab. You know what I'm saying? He lets his jab do a lot of the damage. And Tim had a hard time getting out of the way of that jab. And it looked like Tim kind of chinny too. You know what I'm saying? Because when he get popped pretty good, he don't react well. I was kind of wondering why nobody chopped up Tim earlier. Because he only got that right hand. He don't have a good defense, but people get mixed up with that power. Once people get hit with power, they lose all their instincts and strategy. Just kind of like when Canelo hit somebody. They just want to survive. They don't want to get hit like that again, and they just lose all composure. But when he fought Bakhram had all the composure in the world. You know what I'm saying? He just, said
I,
Bakhram. I
I
was
think it was
impressed.
too soon. He wasn't ready for that fight. He
Mm,
he didn't even remember the fight. After the fight, he was like, what happened? Like he didn't even like and once again that tough guy shit. Like he was not ready to be back in that fight. He should have took way more time off.
hmm hmm But that's his style. He's got a tough guy style. He likes to intimidate people, and everybody don't buckle to pressure. He should have known that. Yeah, sometimes I don't think these guys do their research, on these fights. Some of the coaches and the team, I don't think they watch the film like they should. Because when they go in there and they get caught by these simple shots, you'd be like, damn, it's like, did you even watch what this guy likes to throw? And
Or did you
that
work on not getting hit by it? Like
right,
these fighters, they do not. Cause I would think if I'm a fighter, right, I'm gonna watch a fight, I'm gonna see my mistakes, and I'm gonna go work on them to fix them so it's not an issue again. But you
mhm.
see these fighters keep the same mistakes over and over and over.
Yep. And I think Tim just think his right. I think he depend on his power way too much. Um, he overestimated, what I'm saying, his right hand. I guess he thought he had the right hand of Thor or Hercules or something. And it worked for him for a while until it didn't. He couldn't even reach Fundora. You saw him trying his best to try to reach him and he just couldn't do it. Fundora's so goddamn long, man. It's like, you got to get up in there. You're gonna have to take the risk. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like he's a one punch knockout artist, but he does have a good uppercut. And his timing is pretty good too when you come on the inside. Because you're gonna eat some uppercuts, you know what I'm saying, if you come up running up on Fundora. Um, I think you can ask Eric Lubin about that. He knows about them uppercuts because he took about 55 of them. You know what I'm saying? His whole face was distorted. So I think that'd be a good fight for Boots. You know, um, but I guess you want to get his feet wet just to see what they hitting like, you know, at 154. So it's a cautious move, but we can give him some grace, especially with Vergil Ortiz taking two little tune-ups to get ready for 154. And I think Vergil Ortiz has found his groove. So they're on the right trajectory to meet each other. More than the champions, I think the fighters with the cachet is Boots and Vergil Ortiz. Nobody gives a shit about Xander. I think Bakhram might be interesting, and this people got to find out about at best. I can't even. I don't know how to say the rest of his name, but people got to find out about these guys. Right now, it's Vergil Ortiz and Boots that people care about, at least in America. We don't be giving a shit about no foreign fighters. What I'm saying? I know that's sad. And Fundora, we barely care about Fundora, but Fundora got a couple of good victories up under his belt. And a lot of people are impressed by Fundora, even though he don't look like a fighter. He look like a swimmer. He looked like somebody who'd be in a damn Olympic
He do
swimming.
look like a swimmer.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right. But I think my thing with Booz is like I hope people don't try to weigh him out the division. Cause that is a real thing. Because I feel like Boots is still too big for 54. Boots looked huge in that picture with Canelo. He looked huge, and so you seen what happened at 47. As soon as he was about to move up, all of a sudden everybody wanted to fight him and call him out. I just hope they don't do that at 54. And I do see him fighting these fights to put himself in position for these title shots, so he kind of don't get done like he did at 47. But you still can't force people to fight you.
Damn, they saying Thurman won't last 6 rounds. Wow.
Oh, Keith getting stopped. I'm betting on the stoppage. I think this is the first time Keith gonna get stopped. I just don't think Keith had the attributes at one point maybe to be Fundora, but I just think he well past his prime. Like I'd be surprised if he pull it off, but I don't see it.
Hey, that'd be shocking. That he would, but only reason I don't want Keith Thurman to win because I think he'll hold the belts like he did at 147. And then he'll be floating around with all the bullshit, you know what I'm saying? Why he's not fighting this person, why he's not fighting that person. I got hurt, you know what I'm saying, in training. I just think he'll hold up the division, you know what I'm saying? If he get any belts, I do not want Keith Thurman to get any belts. You know what I'm saying? Even though I liked him when he was active and everything, and I admired him for when he was on top of his game, I just don't want to see somebody get the belts and hold up. I think Fundora's gonna walk. He's gonna fight the fight. He's gonna take the challenges that comes his way. If we have a Fundora Bakhram fight, man, because Bakhram can't sit back. He's a tall, big guy, long arms, and it'll be a fight of the big people, man. At 154, that'll be an interesting fight with Bakhram versus Fundora. I think that'll be because that's a guy that could reach Fundora and he got power. They're gonna try to avoid each other. I think they understand the dimensions of each fighter, kind of match a little bit, and they both can box. You know what I'm saying? They both can box. I think Bakhram is a smart fighter. I mean, he was fucking your boy up, man, just from a distance, and then the way he was laying in that overhand left on Tim Tszyu. I mean, Tim Tszyu never saw it coming. He never saw it coming. I think he had knocked him out on his feet, a few times. Tim.
I just watched that. Oh, you talking about Bakhram?
Yeah. I'm talking about Bakhram. Possible fight between Bakhram and Fundora. Look how big Bakhram is. Look how big, because Fundora, he has that arm distance, advantage. But I think it cut down with that arm.
And Fundora probably 185, 190 in the ring.
What you mean, his weight?
Yeah.
God damn, not no 190. Come on now. God damn, this nigga.
He's 6'6".
I know, but he's skinny. He's a string bean,
But he probably 180, 185. I might be reaching with the 190. But he about 180, 185 in there. Because I think they mentioned it the last fight. And I'm like, so he a weight bully.
Well, that tells you that, in his future, he could possibly move up to super middleweight. You know what I'm saying? Fight,
he could probably do 60, maybe 68 the highest, but he going to get stopped up there.
Yeah, well, right now it ain't no talent besides Carlos Adames. You know what I'm saying? Laura getting old. Janabek, you know what I'm saying, is maybe that'd be an interesting fight. Carlos Adames. I don't know about Laura. You know what I'm saying? He's getting up there in age, but Laura he's got the skills now. Laura's hitting hard.
Man, ain't nobody getting that belt from Laura. They keep talking about how old he is, but them Cuban fighters. They can fight up in their old age. I don't be knowing what that's about.
That nigga,
them Cuban fighters be fighting.
That nigga people don't know that nigga been fighting since 1986. You know what I'm saying?
What?
That nigga is not aging. What's going on? They need to check that nigga out, man. He's a vampire. That nigga Blade. That nigga is Blade. You know what I'm saying? Because he's been fighting. God damn it. I know I was a young man when Laura got the belt. I was like, come on now, something. CIA need to take that nigga to Area 51 or something. Because that nigga is old, bro. I don't know what it is about Cuban fighters. They don't know their age. It's like, do they have birth certificates in goddamn Cuba? It's like, I was born under a coconut tree. You know what I'm saying?
They say them Cuban fighters do be lying about their age, though. And you know what's funny that you say that? When I ran summer track, that's funny. When I ran summer track, we had a guy on our summer track team, and he kept saying he was 17, but everybody was like, man, you look like a grown man, right? So he out there running, doing this, doing that. Cuban guy. Come to find out later, this nigga, grown ass man, he been lying about his age the whole time. Fake birth certificate and everything. Them Cuban be lying about their age, man. They really do.
Yeah, Louis Ruiz, and they don't be knowing you don't be knowing their age, man. It's like niggas be 61 years old and shit up in there. You know what I'm saying? You're like, God damn, bro, what's really going on? Nigga cannot give blood, you know what I'm saying? Cause all his veins old. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but they be competing in boxing though. Ugas, you know what I'm saying? Ugas, he looked like he about goddamn 67 or like they just look old, bro. Oh, he
I
said
mean,
Fundora.
they've been struggling. They had a struggle. It was you heard Uga's story. You know what he went through to get over here.
Yes, sir. They eating mud sandwiches and shit, Like, God damn. They find out mud can be nutritious at times. Let me stop that shit. He says Fedora would be a tall task for Thurman. Oh yeah. I don't even. I'm surprised he took that because it was supposed to be Thurman and Tim Tszyu. They always line up Thurman with some of the best, but the fights never go through. You know,
Because
and
Thurman be BSing, man. Thurman is full of it. If we're honest, Thurman be full of it. But he get a pass, though. Nobody really get on Thurman for that shit.
yeah, that's because of that. He got a cute ponytail. You know what I'm saying? If you get your little you get a cute little ponytail, you know what I'm saying? Another thing is Thurman can talk that talk. I'm surprised he's not doing more commentating events because he could talk that talk, man. He's got that gift for gab. He definitely do. You know what I'm saying? He's got that gift for gab. He said it's a decent fight because Fedora not having the best defense. Yeah, but can Keith reach him? Can he capitalize,
Is he
on that?
fast enough to get in and get out without getting caught?
Yeah, do you know how conditioned you got to be to dart in and dart out? You know what I'm saying? The way, and then you have to loop your shots to get to that head. You know what I'm saying? You have to loop your shots to get to that. Man, that's exhausting. You're gonna have to have a really good game plan to go to that body to slow Fundora down from coming forward because Fundora's gonna be scoring with that jab. He be pumping the shit out that jab, and he's a young man, so the stamina thing is on his side. Keith Thurman got stomach, issues, like Banana, that was at 154, you know what I'm saying? You hit him in the stomach, that's his Achilles heel. Hit Thurman in that damn midsection. Oh my God. I could see Fundora. He likes to do those uppercuts, go in the Thurman body. It's gonna be night for Thurman. If he I don't know how you work on that. I don't think you can even really work on your body weakness. um, we saw Sean Porter don't even have any power, and he hurt Thurman to the body. We've seen him hit to the body. Barrios hurt Thurman to the body, and that motherfucker get. One thing about one thing about Thurman, he don't have a good a good poker face. When that motherfucker get hurt, he get the hell on. You know what I'm saying? He stopped backing up. He stopped moving. You know what I'm saying? When Thurman is hurt. So, if you do that with Fundora gonna set you up with nothing but body shots. You know what I'm saying? Get Keith ass up out of there. But I don't think people really expect a whole lot from Keith Thurman right now. He's kind of like in
No,
the
I think a
golden.
lot of people think he can win. Like I'm hearing a lot of people saying Keith can beat Fundora. Like it's a 50-50 fight. And I think theoretically, if it's the old Keith, ponytail Keith, but this ain't ponytail Keith. This is Keith last time Thurman because he about to get stopped.
I like how you said that. Yeah, he's in this golden pond, part of his career. He said Thurman will be swinging air, and after he swings air, 5 more punches. Well, yeah, yeah. That youth shit is, yeah, that youth shit is real. You know what I'm saying? It's like these kids, when you get older and stuff, you get on the other side of 34, 35, man, these kids coming in, they moving on a whole nother level on you. Darnell says, keep in mind, some of those punches Tim threw, Fundora just moved his head to lessen the blow. Yeah, he's getting better too. I've noticed that Fundora is getting a lot better, in his defense. Well, not so much, but he's getting better with his offense. You know, what I'm saying, helping him with his defense. I would say that keeping that jab pumping, blinding you, and so that helps him see what's coming. He says,
His
Fedora's
defense
like,
is trash. He gets away with a lot because of his
yeah,
length
because
and his attributes.
exactly.
He gets
Yeah,
hit
that's
with a lot of overhand rights and a lot of straight rights.
well, Mendoza showed you that. You know, he just let Mendoza step in a little bit too close, and he got Falumaloon. He got Falumaloon. He says Fundora is like a Harvard graduate in real life, and you could tell he looked like a smart kid. He looks like his sister is coming up too. You know, his sister is riding on Fundora name. I think her last name Fundora too. So we got to look out.
Gabriella Fundora, she undisputed. Cool.
Yeah, yeah. I know. I mean, I ain't. I don't really follow. So I follow the quotes. You
She
know what I'm
fight
saying?
better than Fundora. She fight. She's the better fighter out of them two.
That's crazy. That is
Yeah,
crazy work. That is
she be
crazy work.
beating the shit out them girls, Pool. She's the
Wow.
better fighter out of them two.
I gotta put her on. I got to start following. I wonder how they be getting all these interviews. I need to start trying to get some damn interviews. I just don't be having time to look up and see how to get these damn interviews and stuff. You know what I'm saying? I need to start getting some people on my channel and talking it up. I'd be like, damn,
Just
I be leaving and I come back and then everybody got interviews and shit. Just do be having all kind
just
of
hit them in
interviews.
they just hit them in they DM,
I do that
especially
sometimes.
the up and coming fighters.
I be wanting to get Abdullah Mason sometime when he go lives. I be putting it on there, hit up Pull Kind of Boxing. You know what I'm saying? But I guess he get all kind of podcasts trying to ask him to come on. He says Keith boxes from the outside and leaps in with hooks. And when he moves laterally. He's like to set up lateral traps with aggressive fighters. Yeah, but he's gonna run out of energy doing that shit with Fundora because Fundora is just so long. He could just fall back and pump that jab until you get tired. He's gonna be hitting you and breaking you down. Keith ain't gonna last long, bro. He just ain't. He just. I can't see Keith lasting against Fundora. I'm surprised he took that. Must be paying him some good money because Keith be about that paper. He says, I think Fedor goes hard with his defense in camp. There's no chance. That's not a compelling matchup. Fedor and Bakhram would be a more interesting fight. I think people already see Keith as being retired because he takes so long to, come back to fighting. I keep telling people every time he comes back, I said it's going to be another 3 years before you see him again. He's gonna every time there's a big fight, you're gonna hear him talk shit. You might see him on Instagram, doing a couple of workouts and stuff, talking a little shit about fighters, and that's about it. He's just kind of cooling right now. He's just not, relevant anymore. But if he shocks the world, I'm gonna be a little upset because I'm like, damn, here come Keith Thurman. He's back in the mix. You know, he says Fedor can make 147 easy. I don't know. I don't know. That'd be interesting. He says Fedor is a genetic beast. Yeah, to make that weight at that height, it's kind of crazy. He said, but Tim, I think Tim will fight him in a firefight, which is why he brought up the whole scenario at the press conference. He knows that he has to go blow for blow on the inside to win. Most people do. He says, nobody beating Laura. Trust me on that. You think so? Shit, the nigga, man, come on. I mean, is let me see. Did he fight Carlos Adames? I mean, I can't remember. Did Laura fight Carlos Adames? I can't remember. Let me see. Let me see. Did Laura fight? Let's see. Versus Adames. Let's see. Let me see. I can't remember if he fought. They fought. That's sad, man. When you get old. Let me see. Let me pull it up. Can anybody remember if he fought Carlos Adames, Laura? Let me see. I don't remember that. Let me see. Let me pull up Carlos Adames record. Adames. Let's see. I don't remember. Okay, I got him pulled up here. Let me see. Because nobody really talk about Carlos Adames. Let's see. Okay, they got a split. He got a decision with Ashira. He got a split decision with he fought that Ashira guy. No, did he fight Laura? Nope. Yeah, it's so crazy. Got Patrick Day on his record. No, I don't remember them ever fighting. Nope. 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 So that'll be a good fight. They need to get that on, get it going on. Yep, that'd be a good fight. Carlos Adames. Nobody talks about that guy. Now, let me ask you this, 2 cents. What do you think about Tim Bradley trolling the shit out of Boots? You know, telling him he needs to find his balls and go into the bathroom and, look down and all this kind of hyperbole going on. What you think
I
about
haven't seen the video, but I keep hearing people talking about it, and I'm like, I've said this since the Vergil Ortiz whole Boots Duck campaign. Like, I don't know if they're just trying to force him or pressure him to be on a turkey card, force the public pressure for him to do something they want him to do. But I'm like, Tim Bradley, what are you even talking about? Like, what is Tim Bradley even talking about? Like, what has Boots done? What are y'all talking about? Like, I don't get it. I really don't. And like, he went from the boogeyman to.
He could have been the first.
Hold on. Go ahead.
Wait, you got that thing up. I can't. You got that middleweight thing up. I can't see the video.
Oh, let me see. Yeah, my internet is just a little slow. Let me see. Let me get that off there. Here we go. All right. Here go Tim Bradley talking shit.
The first one to knock him out. Who else? Didn't know. Tim Tszyu. He could have been the first one to knock him out. Who else? He could have fought against Teofimo Lopez. Yeah, he could have served Teofimo Lopez. He didn't do it. He could have fought against Vergil Ortiz. He didn't do it. Why? No balls. No balls. Yeah, that's why. So when I look at that, me being a fighter, I say, I don't know. Do I get behind that? Am I going to co-sign on that?
So Tim is a troll, man.
Yeah, Tim. I got a love-hate relationship with Tim. I'm like, Tim, come on. Tim, I seen you get wheeled out of a fight in a wheelchair. Stop playing with me.
Oh, he avoided EJ. He avoided EJ, he got the hell on, I mean, Desert Storm Bradley, I mean, he do got balls. He fought that Russian guy, and I mean, he fought him toe to toe. I thought that was, that was commendable for what he did, but shit, when he started talking shit about EJ career and EJ challenged him, he got the hell on, and that was all set up by Mayweather, you know what I'm saying? Because he wanted to set Tim Bradley up with a loss. But he can't talk shit about Boots, and you tried to avoid, somebody, and he kept talking about that they didn't do business with the PBC. He was the first. He always tried to have it both ways. When it came to Crawford, he was like, oh, they had cross promotion. It's like, oh, they didn't do that when I was at Top Rank. They didn't do that. So I said, man, you're a damn lie. You know what I'm saying? You as a champion, you could have fought EJ if you wanted to, but you knew what time it was because EJ was on top of his game at that point in time. He was a monster. You didn't want to face no young up and coming monster. So it's just kind of hypocritical when you hear these guys talking about the new up and coming fighters like Boots and talk about they ducking and they duck themselves. So it just kind of sickens me a little bit, with Tim Bradley. You're a fucking hypocrite, bro. It's like, come on, stop. We've been here. We saw you duck the fights. You know what I'm saying?
We seen you lose to Pacquiao too.
Right. And that really crushed him too. Because Pacquiao fans are relentless. They're gonna let you know. they're going to let you know that you're not on that level. Excuse me, y'all. He says, Poole, you think that, he said, he says, what you think of Tank versus Paul fight not happening at the moment? You
They
know, I
moved it to
mean,
Miami. It is happening. They
well, I
moved it to
mean,
Miami.
okay. Well, I'm not really for the fight, but I understand that Tank is trying to, he's not really trying to be around long. He told us that many times that he's not trying to stick around. And I don't think it's because he's scared. I just think Tank, he's had enough, of the sport. So not to excuse his place in boxing history, he's a great talent. We're just getting to the point where these guys do what the hell they want to do. And I think we're gonna have to accept that. We can't
I
force
think
them.
I think it's deeper than that, Pool. I think it's way deeper than that. I really don't get into it with people because you know how people be, but you got to think about what's going on in the boxing. You got Turkey, you got them blocking fights and venues and pulling opponents away. Al sick and retired. You know what I'm saying? And so
Mm,
I'm feeling like Tank is like, forget all of this. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's getting way too political, and you got like a hostile takeover essentially happening right now, and you got people trying to pull his leverage away and trying to make him fight here, and you know what I'm saying? And it's just like
mm,
he said, once I'll leave, I'm leaving too. Basically, is what he said. And so I
right.
really think that that's the
The crux
I don't
of
know
it.
what. Yeah, that's what's really behind him, probably driving him to speak that way. You can be shallow with he gonna retire, so he ain't gotta fight this person or that person. I don't think that's the case. I think it's way deeper than what people trying to make it out to be.
Well, I mean, if you just look throughout his career, it's just certain people. I just think Tank never adhered to follow, what the hierarchy of boxing. He just kind of wanted to fight who he wanted to fight. Not that he was afraid to do that. It's just that he just wasn't interested in fighting certain guys. And I think that rubbed people the wrong way. He just kind of wanted to do the Mayweather thing. He kind of wanted to do the Canelo thing before he reached that
But they're
status.
all they're all doing that, Pool. They're all doing it, if
I
we're
know,
honest.
I know that. You're right, and I've said that before on my channel. I said this is how uh, the best fighters that are considered, the best in the business. They just moving the way they want to move. You know what I'm saying? They just doing their own thing. And when you look around, you say, well, shit, everybody else doing what they want to do. So how can you like really blame these guys for, going for the big money and whatever opportunity they could get? Because time right now, I think Tank is like 30 years old. So he's going to have to make some moves to put as much money in the bank, especially if he's not thinking about sticking around, you know, just filling up the coffers before you retire. And I don't blame him, you know what I'm saying? It's just like if everybody else moving the same way, hey, do your thing. But I think he's going to get it's just going to look bad on him from the boxing fans' point of view because we finally are getting to the apex between him, Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney. Tank is not going to move up. He moved up once to fight Barrios, right? Mario Barrios. That's what people want to see. They want to see Tank go up to 140 and fight some of them guys. And I think, I don't think Tank is interested in that kind of stuff. I think he just kind of want to ride off into the sunset and kind of do what he want to do without the pressure of belts, without the pressure. He come out of the Mayweather camp. So, what I'm saying? He's already thinking independently. So, I just think he's probably going to retire after this Jake Paul fight. I don't think we're going to see Tank again. What you think, 2 cents?
Uh, if he
I don't
retire,
think.
he retires. I don't know. If he do retire, I think he'll come back. I think he
Really?
might come back for a fight or two. Yeah. I mean, because think
Yeah,
about
man.
it, essentially him retiring to make him more valuable. Because they're gonna have to pay you even more money to come out this retirement.
Yeah, that would be big because I think when Mayweather retired the first time, people saying he was trying to duck Paul the Punisher and duck certain fighters. But you know, when Mayweather came back, he was making even more money, man. It's just crazy how that works. You know, people miss your
Yep.
presence and what you bring to. That's crazy, man. But that is real shit right there. What you just said. Mm,
Even
that is
even
real
think about
shit.
like even when Mike Tyson went to jail, he was more valuable when he got out. And he was getting his ass kicked.
Yeah.
But
What's going? Hmm. What you were saying?
yeah, so that's what I think will happen. And then the thing is like it's what two people want to see him fight. What Devin and Shakur, two people,
Yeah.
and it's just like okay, let's say Tank don't ever fight Shakur. Who else is there for Shakur? It's like these fighters they get a belt, they get some belts, and then they run around fighting whoever they want. And then it's like you should fight Tank. Tank need to fight him. Tank need to fight him. But it's like since Tank's not fighting him, he doesn't get any criticism for the opponents that he's fighting because Tank's not fighting him. Now we did get the Zepeda fight for Shakur, which to me, okay, I'm gonna give him credit, but it's like who is William Zepeda? He never been a champion. Okay, he got ranked number one after we realized he was finna fight Shakur. He's Mexican, he's flat footed, he doesn't hit very hard. But Shakur is the number one fighter for beating him when Tank got criticized for fighting flat footed Mexicans. And then, okay,
Well,
now he's about to fight Tszyu at 140. Hopefully that fight takes place. But before that, nobody was criticizing Shakur for fighting people off of losses and all this other stuff. He was just fighting whoever he wanted. Nobody was jumping through hoops to criticize his opponents. Tank has opponents that went on to become champion. Tank damn near beat up everybody at 47. You get what I'm saying? And they just want to jump through hoops to discredit his opponent. So when I say everybody picking and choosing who they want to fight, everybody is picking and choosing who they want to fight. It's just that Tank is the one that has to fight everybody, but everybody else don't got to fight each other. And I think that's weird.
well, I think Shakur is in the same boat. You know, so he's been around for how many years now, and he still don't have any top names up on this belt except for Zepeda. You know what I'm saying? I think everybody's just kind of frustrated with the 135, stars, right? Because really you can kind of take it or leave it because they still proving themselves. After all this time, they still proving themselves. You know what I'm saying? They're not really fighting the dudes that we think that could give them issues. I think Lamont Roach was just something that was, that I think he underestimated Lamont Roach, but we need to see Tank in those kind of fights. We need
But
to see.
he told y'all it was gonna be competitive, and all the boxers was saying it's not gonna be an easy fight. It's gonna be competitive. It was just the fans with that narrative that Lamont Roach too small. He coming from 30 to 30 for this whole narrative built thing they did to discredit Lamont Roach when that wasn't really the truth. And so now I'm asking: is Shakur Stevenson too small to move up to 140 pounds to fight Teofimo Lopez?
It's going to be interesting. That's going to answer a lot of questions um, from all of us because nobody, Shakur can't hit, man. He can't punch with the shit. And Teofimo Lopez, he has problems with movers. You know what I'm saying? He looks good against guys he's faster than. I think Shakur's foot speed is going to give going to make Teofimo look crazy. It's going
But
to
you
make
know what I
Teofimo.
realized during that Zepeda fight, Pool, is that Shakur Stevenson is not as fast and as athletic as I thought he was.
He wasn't during that fight. I
So you
don't
think it
think. I
was
don't
just a
think.
fight and a style that made him look
Yeah,
like that?
I think when the Turk said he don't want no Tom and Jerry situation going on, I think Shakur tried to change his style, tried to show some versatility, and he did what he could do so he could punch on the inside. He fought boxing. He boxed his whole entire life, so he had to change his instinct in there. You know what I'm saying? Which is difficult. He had to back up against those ropes so he could kind of count off the ropes, which I thought was pretty good since he's a mover. And he had to make it an action-packed fight to get a fact. Because you remember when Tim Bradley and those announcers and people were walking out the damn thing, and they were showing the people walking out, calling them boring and stuff like that. So they got this. They done targeted Shakur. The industry has targeted Shakur to be this boring fighter. and he is boring at times because he's a little bit too defensive. But I think he needed to. I think he needed to fight Cepeda the way he did, just to get that boring narrative off him and show that I don't think he separated himself much in that fight, as he should, because we think of Shakur as as a on the level of Jaron Boots. He's a star. What I'm saying? He's somebody who should really be dominating in there. And I think in that fight, I think Cepeda really took him to the task, because he was sitting there in front of him and really trying to fight Cepeda fight in points and times. He really didn't hurt Cepeda the way people we want him to. And I just think, like you said, 2 cents, he didn't. Once he started kind of moving, they started the whole narrative about him running and stuff. And so it's gonna be interesting to see how he face Teofimo Lopez, what kind of style he goes in there with. He's probably going to be moving, but I don't know. I don't know. Stevens just got to prove himself, man. It's like, I don't know. It's like he's skipping a whole bunch of people, at 140.
It's Bud Crawford 2.0, fool.
Oh, I don't think. I mean, it's worse than Crawford because Crawford could punch. You know what I'm saying? At least Crawford is dangerous. I don't think Shakur dangerous like that. He just him and Devin Haney got kind of sort of the same issue. I just think Shakur defense is a lot better than Devin Haney.
Can you drop the link again, Pooh? I gotta go out and come back in. I can't hear nothing.
Okay. They kind of got the same issues. Both of them can't punch themselves out of a wet paper bag, but they got to face these dangerous guys, that's especially if you're moving up in weight. And I wouldn't, if I was Shakur Stevenson, I wouldn't go beyond 140. 147 is kind of dangerous, But Teofimo Lopez boxing IQ ain't quite as high as Shakur Stevenson, I think. I think he can outsmart Lopez for 12 rounds, and I think he can outpoint. Yeah, I think I just dropped the link. Yeah. I think he can outsmart. I think he can outsmart Teofimo Lopez. I'm surprised. I'm surprised he took the fight. Tell you the truth, because he knows. Unless they've been studying. I'm trying to click you in. Let me see. There we go. I'm surprised Teofimo Lopez took the fight. Because Stevenson clearly got a higher boxing IQ. There's no way he can outbox Shakur Stevenson. Unless they just start saying he's running and holding and start putting that heavy narrative on him. Lopez, he don't really like to let his hands go until he's in control of the fight. So I think that's a bad matchup for Teofimo Lopez. But it'll be an interesting fight. So I think Shakur would get a lot of stardom if he beat Teofimo Lopez. I think Teofimo Lopez is going to talk a lot of shit if he take a loss in that fight. I think it's going to destroy him if he take a loss from Shakur Stevenson. I mean, I think Shakur, he needs that fight. He needs a signature fight, and I think that's a good signature fight for him. I don't know where the hell he's gonna go from there though. I mean, I don't know who he fights from there. Especially if he's talking about staying up at 147. I guess he can outpoint Emmanuel's standing on this. He could outpoint somebody like that. But I think somebody like if he have to go back down to 140, it's a lot of guys that could fuck with Shakur down there. Sabri, he probably get around Sabri. It depends on the foot speed. Depends on the foot speed. Let's see. He says, was it Bud in Tank weight class division? Yeah. Why that fight was? They like 2 cents said, they like 10 years apart, bro. You know what I'm saying? Tank was probably, he was still in the gyms and, just up and coming, you know what I'm saying? Nah, they're too far apart. He said, I don't think Shakur is an elite athlete like Gary Antoine or Kid Austin. Give me Kid Austin's chin, bro. His chin. Man, I don't know. So my internet kind of messed up too. I'll drop the link again if you want to come up. Yeah, his chin is man, it's his defense ain't that good either. You know, I mean, I like Austin. I think he got a lot of power. I think speed. But his chin ain't there. You know, he get hit, man. He got a weak chin. But Gary just come forward a little bit too much. I think he's starting to really hone in on his flaws. But that direct rushing you from the and lunging and stuff like that, it's not going to work with a Peblo. It's not going to work with Peblo. Did
Quail.
he fight Pleo? It's not gonna work. That dude is sharp as shit. A excellent fight would be him and Sabri Matias. Now that would be the fight of the year. You know what I'm saying? We talk about, them two like to confront each other, the power for power, blow for blow. Man, Sabri Matias and Antoine Russell. Oh my God, bro. That shit would be off the chain. That would be the fight of the year right there. I don't even put Richard Hitchinson in that shit because he's a sweet boxer, but I don't see him. He's the weakest link. Um, he's the weakest link at 140. Let's just keep it 100. Let me see. He is the weakest link. Who you think got the best chance of unifying at 140? Two.
Probably Keyshawn. It seems
He's
like
good. I said at 140. Let's see.
Keyshawn at 140.
Oh yeah, he did just move up, didn't he?
That's why I think it's weird that I don't want to say it's weird, but I can't say how I feel about Shakur going up and fighting Tszyu, because it's like people move up and fight for championship belts all the time. But when Tszyu was like, yeah, I'm gonna go get the belt and then drop it for Keyshawn to get it, that's when I was kind of like, wait a minute. Keyshawn's already at 40. Why can't you be unifying at 35? Why are you going up to 40 to fight Tszyu just to drop the belt so then Keyshawn can fight for the vacant? Why Keyshawn won't fight at Tszyu to raise his profile? I don't understand him.
Well, right now,
And
Keyshawn
it's like
lying
that
on.
tag team champions of the world shit they own. Like, I don't know. I don't know. It's weird to me because
I
Keyshawn
don't
was
understand.
T.O.'s mandatory on top of that, from my understanding.
Who's his mandatory?
Keyshawn.
Oh, okay.
That's
Well,
why if Shakur get the belt and drop it, Keyshawn will fight for the vacant.
okay. Let me see. I'm just pulling up the 140 division. That's why I'm like, let's see. Pablo, Antoine. Why do they still got Arnold Barboza Jr. up in
Who else got
ranking
the
number
other
10?
belts? I know T.O. got a belt.
Lamb. What's his name? Lima Railroad. They got Hitchison. I think Hitchison got a belt. Let me see. T.O. got. Let me see. I'm trying to pull it up right now.
I think Hitchison is. How would you think about Richardson Hitchison?
I think he's a cool boxer, man, but he's just food.
Yep,
He's
I
just
agree.
food.
I agree.
I think he's a beautiful boxer. Don't get me wrong. He looked good and he ain't got no pop whatsoever.
It's like these good amateur fighters, they come and they don't be having no pop. Like, what you think about O'Shaquie Foster?
I like him. For his, he got good power to keep you off him. You know what I'm saying? Type. I think that fight with a Cool Boy is gonna be the shit. You know what I'm saying? I think that's an excellent fight.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good fight.
I think that's. I don't know. I don't know if I think Cool Boy's coming up from what 126.
Yeah, he coming up. I think they're gonna be in there fighting because I don't think neither one of them about to knock each other out. So they're gonna be in there fighting.
Man, that's the last time I went with Cool Boy, he let me down against Inoue. I just couldn't believe that Inoue got that. So you got Hitchison, you got Antoine Russell, and Sabri Matias and Teofimo Lopez. So there you go. Look how many non-rated spots under Richardson, under the IBF. Oscar Duarte
He
is
still got
still
this
up there.
thing, this middleweight, junior middleweight champion thing.
Oh, let me move that out of the way. Let me see. There we go. So you still got. I mean, I'm just surprised at some of the names that they got still on here. They got Keith Sims, Oscar Duarte in the IBF. Have you seen Andy Hayoka fight this guy here?
You know, I got to see their
He's,
faces. I don't be good with these dudes' names, but probably.
let me pull him up and see. This is him. I've never seen him fight, but yeah, he's like number 2. Let's see.
You know, sometimes people be in them spots because who they about to fight.
Jose Venezuela. Let's see. Let's see. Birthplace, Yokohama, Japan. I guess that's 29 years old. Almost 6 foot. Let's see. So this is him. Yeah, some of these guys, you know, they be getting up in the rankings. That's how you know the shit is bullshit. Because you never seen these guys fight before. But yet they be all the way up to number
Just like
2,
how
number
did
1.
Zepeda get number 1?
Hell, if I know. You know. Okay, you know, they were pushing his ass. They were pushing him. Who is this? Dalton Smith.
I
It's
seen Dalton
Dalton
Smith
Smith,
fight before, I think.
18-0. Let me see. 28 years old. He's from the United Kingdom. They be trying to put them Europeans up there, giving them a
They
chance.
trying,
His
poor.
nickname,
They trying.
his nickname is Thunder.
Sound like
So
a
he
stripper.
finna get his ass. He
Sound
finna
like a
get
male
knocked
stripper.
out. Now I don't know nothing about that. You know, I did have my days. You know, I don't know about that.
Sound like a male stripper name. Thunder.
Now, under Teofimo Lopez, you got Alfredo Santiago, where you say that. He never heard of him, bro. It's like, what the hell is going on?
What did you think
That's
about Mr. Gary comeback fight?
what, Russell?
Mm-hmm.
I just think, you know, they take it too long off, man. You know what I'm saying? They take it too long off. You know, let me see. Who was his last fight? I can't even remember. Let's see.
I can't
Gary
remember who he
Russell.
fought, but he put on a masterclass in there, and I just feel like all of
Let's see who he fought though. You know,
it wasn't
let's see who he fought.
it was a tune-up fight because he been out.
There you go. So it was a fight just to make him look good.
But even
He
with that, Paul, even with a fight just to make him look good, you can just see the levels. Like you could see his level is so much different than like a Shakur or a Devin. You get what I'm saying? Like it's just different levels, and we don't have, in my opinion, we don't have that. The boxers right now that we saying grade and all that, like we don't. They don't have that skill level. They don't. They don't have that level of skill. And I think Gary just came back and really showed his levels to it. Of course, he wasn't fighting the best competition, but shit, neither are they.
Rayo. Okay, so he fought. Okay, so he fought and beat
No,
Rayo.
not him. The other Russell, the one that's trying to fight Tank.
Oh, you talking about Gary Russell Jr.?
Yeah, Gary Russell Jr.
Okay, there's so many goddamn Russells. It's like, god damn. It's like his goddamn daddy was working overtime. Let's see. Yeah, Gary Russell. I mean, Gary Russell Jr. You know, this is. I don't know how old he is, but you know what I'm saying. This is about time to hang him up. You know. Let's see.
Nah, he looked
But
good his
Anton.
last fight. He looked good.
Let's see. Gary Russell. He was always good as advertised. It's just I think when he fought Lomachenko, you know what I'm saying, it took something away from him. They say he was sick. Gary Russell.
Was his shoulder messed up or something?
He said he was sick.
He
You
was
know,
sick.
he had he had issues with making weight and stuff. And let's see, Gary Russell Jr. Okay, he fought Hugo. I don't even Santana, Castaneda or something. Let me see. He won by TKO. See,
Mm-hmm.
never heard.
Mm-hmm.
See, But he only got 15 fights. He got 11 KOs. Got a little pop to him. You know what
I
I'm
mean, you gotta
saying? It's
watch the
just
fight. It wasn't even. It's for him to come off that long layoff, show his skill like that, get the rounds in, stop the dude whenever he wanted to. You just gotta watch the fight. You'll see what I'm talking
well,
about.
Gary is on another level though. He's a special fighter. So he got that hand speed. I think at one point he had like the fastest hands in boxing or something like that. You know, this guy fought Mark Macedo and lost. So that tells you a lot right there. About this guy that Gary fought. But okay, if Gary's back, I don't know. I don't know who he'll fight. You know what I'm saying? What weight was that? Let me see. Let me go back. What
35, I
weight was he
think.
fighting?
35.
35, and he was able to knock him out. Oh, that's interesting. That is interesting. If he could get Tank, I don't think Tank will fight him though. I don't think Tank will fight him. I don't think Tank want that kind of smoke because Gary is kind of a legendary type fighter. So I think he got them skills.
Tank
I
stops
don't know
Gary.
about how. Ooh, I don't know.
Tank stopped
That'd be a
Gary.
good one. I don't know because you get an unfocused Tank in the ring. That confidence. You know what I'm saying? Fuck with that confidence. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That'd be a good one. He been trying to fight. No, he was trying to fight Bud at that time. You know what I'm saying? He was trying to fight Bud. Yeah. He says, yeah, he lost. Yeah, he lost to Loma, man. That shit hurt him, man, when he lost that fight. Took a lot out of Gary that fight because he just wasn't. He said he wasn't up for it though. Even though that was a good ass fight. I think Gary knocked him down too. I think Gary knocked down Loma in that fight, and they didn't even call it a knockdown. And I think that's really
I
what
think he
cost
felt
him
a
the
little
fight.
cheated though, because that was a close fight. I think it could have went either way, probably. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
but
But Gary
he knocked.
fades in the back half of the fights. That was always my biggest issue with him.
Yeah, but he said he was sick. You know what I'm saying? And he did. I think he did knock down Loma, and they just ignored that shit. You know what I'm saying? They said he didn't. They called it off a slip or whatever. Like, they just don't want Loma to lose right now. He said that's interesting. Yeah, yeah, but it was a good fight though. But if Gary's back, that's going to be dangerous. He can upset the apple cart.
That's the point I'm
But
trying to
it'll be.
make.
Mm-hmm.
He on a
He could
different
definitely.
level.
Yeah, and if a fighter that ain't got nothing to lose is a dangerous fighter. I think Gary dangerous as legend, you know, and he's a good name to put on your resume. If Tank get Gary Russell Jr. on his resume, man, that shit, that's a beautiful thing.
They
That
still
that
gonna
was
be hating poor. They still ain't gonna give that man no credit.
that would be great validation for Tank. That would be great validation, you know what I'm saying? Because Gary is bona fide, you know. If I was Tank, I would really try to get Lomachenko in the ring, even though I think didn't he retire? Did he retire? Did he officially retire?
Man,
Lomachenko?
Tank sent Loma that contract and he retired, fool.
Ooh,
He walked away from it. I think they actually was finalizing it because Bob said they was finalizing it, and he walked away from it and retired. I don't think he ever had
mm,
any intentions or want to fight Tank.
mm,
What
mm,
up, brother Hoods? What up, Casual? The Angry Casual.
What's up, Angry Casual?
I
What's
fuck
up?
with
I know.
Angry. I
It,
fuck with Angry
yeah,
Casual. I like the way he think. I like the way
yeah.
his
I mean,
mind works.
that boy, I like that boy. Hey, that boy, old school right there, young old school mind right
Young
there.
old school.
Uh-huh.
Very
Like how
intelligent
the
guy.
fuck,
Very intelligent
how
guy.
the how the fuck you gonna come in here and talk about that guy like he's Sugar Ray? I'm like, okay, all right, I feel you, yeah, I feel you. Passionate, passionate. But we got to stop giving these fighters, we got to stop giving them the GOAT status. What I'm saying, before they start doing GOAT like material. I mean, I think Tank is one of the most exciting fighters in the ring, right now. Out of would you rather watch a Devin Haney fight or a Shakur fight, or would you rather watch a Tank fight? Who would you
I
rather?
think we should let these fighters fight in whatever their lane is and appreciate it instead of trying to make them do what we want them to do. Because it's not even one specific thing y'all want these fighters to do. It's that y'all want them to do the opposite of what they want to do. If Tank want to fight for money, y'all want him to fight for accolades. If Boots want to fight for accolades, y'all want him to fight big names. Like, it's just always a push to just do the opposite of what they're doing so you can complain. If you understand that Tank has said he in it for the money and this and that, and you've heard him say that, why are you mad he's fighting Jake Paul? If you heard Boots say, I want to be undisputed at 147, why are you mad that he's not going to 154 pounds to fight Vergil Ortiz when he said this is what he wanted to do?
Because
I don't understand
like I
that.
said, because like we said, you know, people want the sport to operate like a sport, not prize fight. You know, and these guys are looking at it from, like you said, the money aspect. You know, we want them to go up the ranks and fight the next guy that's they supposed to fight, but they're not looking at it that way. So I think that's the
No.
divide. That's the divide. We're never going to like kind of get by that because of where we come from in boxing. And they don't care. They got to disconnect from the fans because they're going to lose a lot of fans, you know, saying by not fighting, you know, the guys that's next in the, you know, the next contender. You know, if the next contender he feel like ain't gonna bring him no money, he ain't gonna fight that nigga. He gonna go to the, you know, to the guy they think that's gonna bring in the cash or somebody he think he could look good against. And that's just how they rolling right now. You know, and I think the old heads and people who really want to see Tank challenged, you know, say they, you know, it's just a letdown. You know, say because Tank is so good, you know, he's so exciting to watch. You know, you want to see them skills against the best, you know, and that's all it is. Just people get let down because, you know, if you can look in your mind and you can look in your imagination and say, okay, Tank and this guy, Tank and Lomachenko when he was in his prime, that would have been a great ass fight. But that fight never happened. Tank and Tevin Farmer when he was in his prime, that would have been a good fight. Um, no matter who you think would have won, you know, the guys that you team up, you know, these up and coming guys, you know what I'm saying, and it never happens, then you just kind of like, damn, we ain't never gonna get the damn fights we want to see. You know what I'm saying? We never gonna get them, you know. And I think Tank is kind of a lot of people put expectations on him that he just, you know, he just don't have no ambition on completing. You know, he has no ambition to fight certain fighters, and we can't do a damn thing about it. Can't do a damn thing about it, you know. He moved the way he want to move. When he wore Canelo gloves and shit, I said, yeah, that nigga fit do what the hell he want to do.
Facts,
I said,
as
okay,
he should. As he should.
you know what I'm saying?
Everybody else doing what they want to do. That's what
Yeah,
I'll
I
be
mean, I
understanding.
agree. I mean, you can't do nothing but no matter how much you complain, you can't do nothing but take it. You know, I don't care how much we cry or moan, you know, what I'm saying you can't make these fighters take a fight they don't want to take. And you know, I don't think it'd be about fear. It's just about business. You know, it's just about business. You know, they just don't want to go in that direction.
I mean,
And
but
I think we're going.
so because I don't fight who you want me to see. I mean, who you want to see me fight, which is what probably one or two people. Why that doesn't mean that I haven't fought nobody. Like when you look at Tank's resume and you see 3 of the people he fought went on to become champions. 6 of the people he fought is ranked in the top 10 in their division right now. These people he's fighting is going on and continuing to be successful after they fight Tank. And I just it's just like, oh, you ain't fight these people. You trash, your resume trash. You ain't been fighting nobody. When that's just is really
But
not the
it's the
truth.
same.
Because
If we use that logic, it's the same for Bud. Cause you
who
look at
did
the
Bud
people that
fight that went on to accomplish more?
nobody. But what I'm saying is, when we start thinking about criticizing who they fought, you know what I'm saying? It's like it really don't matter in the scheme of things because at the end, even if he fought good fighters, you know what I'm saying, in the end, if you just stop fighting who you want to fight, it don't even matter because they're going to move the way they want to move, and they're not just going to fight the next number one contender or if the sanctioning body, you know, says that Tank got to fight this person, say no, I'm not going to fight that person, I'd rather let the belt go. You know, so what they're going to do, you know, so Tank gonna still make millions and millions of dollars because his fan base gonna follow him. He's a star. They're gonna follow him anywhere he goes. And what I'm saying is, even like Mayweather, I think it's the Mayweather effect. You know, anywhere Mayweather went, the fan bases went. They really don't need. Once you become above the belt, you do what you want to do.
What about the Crawford
And
effect?
Crawford just Crawford
What
just
about
got
the
a
Crawford
network
effect?
deal.
Shakur Stevenson doing it right now.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Hey, but I don't think Shakur Stevenson, he don't have the fighting style. He's not knocking out people. I think one thing Bud Crawford had going for him is that in the ring he has exciting fights. I don't think nobody want to see Shakur box somebody to death. You know what I'm saying? And I think what Crawford had going for him, he was knocking people out. Even when he knocked David Nesian out, it was exciting for people, to see
Mm.
knockouts in the ring. You got to have a good style. That's what keep Tank alive. That he's a knockout artist. You know, um, that's what put people in seats. Nobody wants to see Devin Haney box for 12. I do.
That's why they on undercards.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The hardcore boxing fans, we find beauty in the sweet science because we know they don't have any power and they got to survive in them and they got to dominate the fight. That's exciting on our side because we know boxing. But for the casual fans, they do not want to sit there and watch somebody get boxed up for 12 rounds. And that's why I don't know. I don't think you can call Devin Haney a star. You know what I'm saying? I think you can call Tank a star. I think you can call Crawford a star. Just the ones that bring exciting fights to the ring. Vergil, Ortiz, people make you want to see the fights. I think Boots got an exciting fighting style. You're gonna have to bring that shit now. People don't want to see that boxing shit no more. As far as the casual fan. And
I
that's
mean,
who they
it's a
really.
way to buy. It's a way. You just got to be entertaining. Like this. It's another mentality of just like win is a win. Like I see people kind of trying to shift to that too. Also, like if you
Mhm.
notice, it's like a push in boxing for focus on accolades and just focus on you winning type of thing. Like a win is a win. It don't matter you went in there and ran
Yeah,
around and then put on a
but
good
but
performance
dude,
as long as you
but
won.
dude, if you win in a weak division, if you coming up like right now, if you was to wipe out 160, that's a weak division.
Let's do
I mean,
140 like Bud wiped out 140 when he
right,
fought in Dongo.
right. That's a weak division. That's why I said it's good that Boots. People was telling Boots to move up a long time ago because
Facts.
Arrow they were leaving the division. It's like, bro, you're not going to get those fights. Them guys are veterans. You know what I'm saying? They done been there. They done fought and beat each other down. You got to find some new names. You got to find some new blood to make your name, to put your mark down. So 154 is for you. And plus you're a big heavyweight. I mean a big welterweight. Yeah, move the hell on up and find the fights. If they won't fight you at 147, fuck trying to make undisputed at a dead weight class. Nobody's gonna give you credit for that shit. You know what I'm
That's what
saying?
I
Yeah,
said.
you had the accolade. Yeah. He's undisputed at 147. Nobody gives a damn. You know what I'm saying? That's the first thing they're gonna bring up. The writers, the boxing writers.
They
You
gonna
know what
they
I'm
gonna
saying?
jump through hoops to discredit every single person you got a belt from.
Right. They're gonna say yes, he's undisputed from a dead division. It'll be in there. It'll be in the article. You know what I'm saying? That's just what they do. Anytime they bring up Mayweather, you know what I'm saying? They make sure they shit on Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if they target you and they don't feel like, you met the rock'em sock'em and you fought somebody where you had to go uh blow for blow with, they're just gonna down you. So
Nah,
Boots,
nah. Hold on, my bad. Pull. Nah, angry casual. He said Crawford drained Kell Brook just like Tank did Ryan, but get a pass for it. Nah, that's nowhere near the same thing. How long was Kell Brook fighting at 54? And he took the fight on short notice. Ryan
mm,
Garcia had a choice on what way he wanted to fight at. And if he fought it this way, he would have to have a rehydration clause. He chose that. So it's not the same thing at all.
yeah, yeah. So he says, Dark Ken says, so if boxing is just for the bag, he said you shouldn't be considered in the Hall of Fame when you retire. I don't know. They call it prize fighting too, Dark Kent. So how much of it is the sport or how much of it is prize fighting? You tell me. How much do we let it go? Or do we even have a say in it? I mean, because pay-per-view look like it's leaving here, with these big money deals with the Turk, the way they doing things look like. I don't know if it's gonna go back to pay-per-view. Um, You know, look like with all these different companies and networks getting involved, like Netflix and stuff. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. You know, it's like it's kind of uncertain. He says, I think you should do money fights after you build that legacy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's exactly what it used to be. But now people are going for the big deals. And since we got different, look like the promoters are starting to become dinosaurs. You know, it's starting to become dinosaurs. You know, it's getting harder and harder for them to maintain to stay in the business. You know, and I think Eddie Hearn had like $1 billion budget. You know what I'm saying? And he still can't seem to take over. He still can't make that takeover. And I know he's highly incompetent. You know what I'm saying? But you know, with $1 billion, look like he could make some shit. Say that again.
Oh no, I just sneezed.
Mm. Let me see. Charles says, I think you should do money fights after. Yeah, okay, I read that. He says, not before on optional after you fought champs. But that's the problem, man. Nobody wants to fight in a linear way. You know what I'm saying? They just kind of want to pick and choose and cherry pick, and it's being celebrated, you know. But we getting away from that. So I think we're just gonna have to change the way we think about things. You know, if boxing ain't moving the way you think it should, you can't do a damn thing about it. You know, all you can do is
Nope.
come on here and complain. He said, so boxing is just about making other fighter lotteries. Yeah, for big. Yeah, that's what I've been complaining about. But it ain't no use to complaining. You know what I'm saying? All we can do is sit back, watch what we got. You know what I'm saying? Because hey, they the stars. They built themselves up. You know what I'm saying? They went out there. They did the road work. They did everything to get in this position. All we could do is follow along. He said, Tank is a phenom. Is a phenom. He says Crawford is just regular. Shit, I know you. I know you lying. He says, he said, aircraft carrier says it ain't but responsibility for a fight, responsibility for a fighter's success after he destroys them.
Who said it was?
Mm. Come on now, you already know. You already know what it is when it comes to Bud. That's Black Jesus. You had the picture up. You know what I'm saying? That motherfucker walking on water right now. He says, boxing is a science, man. He says true fans recognize that and don't always need to see knockouts to know good boxing. And that's true. That's for hardcore fans though. Not everybody is hardcore fans. Some people look at a boxing match, see the back and forth, and don't see the beauty in it. You know, they can't appreciate it, you know, unless they see somebody getting hurt. You know. He said Crawford got bodies. Yeah, he got bodies, you know. He says Bud got caskets. Okay. Got the Budites up in
Okay.
the building. Two cents, you better watch yourself, goddamn.
Man, I'm
You
telling you,
saw did you
I be
see
getting jumped by these bud buddies. I be getting jumped in the chat. I be like,
did you
God
see
damn.
did you see the threats that manager Marty was getting and stuff? You know what I'm saying?
Man, they
I was like,
crazy.
wow. That he really pissed. He got like something like 2,000, 1,000 or so people in his stream. I forgot how many he said he had in there. It was like people was like tuning in just because he was dissing Bud. You know,
Yep. I think
I
the one
just
where he got Bud is the biggest cheater. I think the hoe got like 30,000 something views.
mm, mm. I can't, I can't. I'm not, I'm not calling this clickbait, but man, I'm not doing that, man. Like, saying, I was like Marty, say, you know what to do to bring him in, boy. Mm.
Yeah, that shit funny.
I, that shit had me rolling. When he said snack works, I was like, oh my God. Mm. I was
I don't know
like,
why they be
boy,
so. He keep telling. He keep saying, "I'm not saying nobody doing nothing illegal." Like, why y'all keep
right,
it so?
right. I was like, I was like, this boy is crazy as hell, boy.
He had the snack
Uh,
shirt on.
oh my God, right. Then he called him Victor Conte and shit. He was calling Victor. Oh, that shit had me rolling. Oh, he ain't answer. He ain't answer. I was like, but he had Victor on there all the time. So, you know what I'm saying? So Vic, at least Victor talked to him.
That shit
He
was
says,
funny though. Them people was mad.
yes, sir. T Mac says the only issue I have with Bud career is his opponents doing the majority of the belt collecting in his biggest fights. That's not exactly his fault, but still. Yeah, like I said, man, you
No, it's
got
not
to
his
get
fault. It's
big.
his plan. What you mean it's not his fault? That was his plan.
Well, I don't think
Like,
he could help
listen,
it. I think he was on the wrong
this
side
is
of the
what
street.
people gotta understand that people not recognizing, right? You gotta wonder what politics are behind Bud that he's able to do this. It's kind of like how Lomachenko was able to come in and get opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. That's why I'm so sick of the Bud victim shit, because I don't know another fighter that's gonna get the opportunity to fight for undisputed in 3 different weight classes in 2 fights. The fight you got for the belt, and then the fight to get undisputed. You did that in 2 different weight classes, and then you just went up to 68 and only fought for undisputed. That you have to be at the right place at the right time with the right people. That stuff don't happen by no happenstance, like you looked up. Or that, it don't happen like that. This is boxing. So
Well,
I don't
look at
know if
AJ.
this will ever be done again, because I don't know who else would get opportunities like that to do such a thing.
Well, it's kind of like AJ when he came in, could half fight, half skills, but yet he got all the opportunities because who were behind him. You know, Deontay Wilder got froze out. You know what I'm saying? Got froze out. You know, when he was still fresh and more in his prime. You know, AJ got grabbed all the flipped up all the belts, and then dodged Deontay Wilder. So it's a lot of politics, like you say. You know, whoever got the power, you know, it's a chess game. You know what I'm saying? It's a chess match. You know what I'm saying? You know,
Yeah, let me get in right quick.
control the belt
Terrence Crawford.
and get
Yeah, Terrence Crawford made a decision. You know, when his first contract
doing
was
it.
up with Top Rank, he made a decision to go with the guarantee over Eat What You Kill PBC model. You know, PBC, they have low guarantees and they really make their money on the back end of the pay-per-view. He chose to go with the guarantee that Top Rank presented him with. I wish he would have left Top Rank myself and went on over there with the PBC and got those fights with Danny Garcia and Ugas and guys like that. He ended up getting a fight with Sean Porter anyway, but he could have got those fights. But as long as he was over there with Top Rank, you know, he was going to get frozen out, because there's no way once Sean Porter got the WBC belt, they wasn't going to give the Crawford a title shot over Errol Spence Jr., who was with the PBC. That wasn't going to happen. So he found himself on literally like Errol Spence said when they was at that hooker fight, he was on the wrong side of the street. He chose that decision. You know, he went with the guarantee, and that just is what it is. So that's how he ended up getting undisputed with 1 fight, because Errol Spence told him face to face that he was going to collect them belts and then fight Bud last. Bud, you know, Bud was like, "Why don't we fight before that?" He was like, "Nah, why would I do that? I'm gonna take the easy route." I don't think he meant like the easy route, but he was saying that those fights are easier to make because Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, Ugas, all those guys with the PBC, they were easier fights to make than going to do a fight with Top Rank. You know, that would have to be a joint promotions. Top Rank and PBC had been seeing eye to eye. I think they had a lawsuit going with Top Rank and Golden Boy suing Al Heyman. So there was a lot of things involved. So it just basically came down to the decision that Terrence Crawford made.
Remember saying Bob Aram's a counselor and all that bullshit was going on?
Yeah.
You know, nobody had heard from Al Heyman. He was saying Bob was saying he's to the sport, and so it was just kind of crazy back then. You know, people hated that the PBC was taking over at the time, and it was trying to, you know, like really trash the PBC name and essence back then. So really trying to downplay them and everything. So Al Heyman was an upstart. You know, he was an upstart to the industry and everything. You know, so you know, they were really trying to tarnish. You know, I don't know why my it's slow today.
Kind of breaking up, Paul.
Christ.
Breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, because my internet.
But I agree with you. I agree with your point, though. I agree with you on there. I kind of like how PBC, you know, they had that deal going on with NBC and ESPN, CBS, man. That's when boxing was really at its best, man. We've seen a lot of good fights. But, you know, it's a shame that he was trying to make boxing, you know, to a mainstream sport. He tried, you know, he wasn't successful, but he still got a product that he's still putting out fights, you know, not as frequently as he's done before, but he still is the best boxing promoter here in the U.S. You know, PBC is probably the only, you know, they're the only promotional company here in the United States that still has a platform to showcase their fight on Prime. Top Rank, they're still looking for a platform to showcase their fights on now that their ESPN contract is up. So I think he tried to make boxing mainstream, but it's just at this time, man, boxing became a niche sport. And it was just, we might not never be able to be like back in the 70s when Muhammad Ali and Ken Norton, George Foreman, and Joe Frazier, when boxing arguably was the #1 sport in America. I don't think we ever get back to that point, but we can still make boxing better than what it is, by putting fights on that people want to see, and by trying to put fights on where people can easily see those fights. Now that we're going through these streaming sites, it's going to be hard to put it back on free TV, but they've got to make these fights more accessible to the public and put on fights that people want to see.
What do you mean make them more accessible to the public? What does that mean?
Be more accessible to the fight. Right now we got PBC is the only one that has a platform here in the United States. That's the Prime, and the platform they have is not putting on fights like every month. It's like every 2 or 3 months they have a fight on, and most likely to be on paper.
Well, MVP got Netflix. They're in the United States.
No, they don't have Netflix. They got DAZN. They got Netflix for their big fights. They don't have a Netflix deal. Netflix is kind of in the game as far as big fights, spectacles, and stuff like that. They're only going to be involved in select fights. They're not going to be, you're not going to see no fight on like every month on Netflix. They're going to pick and choose like Crawford, Canelo, Tank, Jake Paul. They're going to do stuff like that. Serrano, Taylor 3. They're going to put on select events that they feel are big events. They're not going to, you ain't going to see Netflix picking up Fundora and Thurman. That's not going to happen. They're not going to pick up Roach and Pitbull. They're not going to do that. They're going to put on select events. So,
yeah.
So Jake Paul not exclusively with Netflix?
No. That was great. His last MVP card, that was on DAZN. That August 23rd card when they had Tellez against Barraro, that fight was on DAZN. That wasn't on Netflix. So, yeah, Tyson and Paul was on Netflix, and Tyson and
I thought all Jake Paul fights was on Netflix.
No. He got to deal with MVP. Got to deal with DAZN. DAZN is really the main platform. They got to deal with MVP. They got to deal with Matchroom. They got to deal with Golden Boy, and I believe they got to deal with Queensberry. So that's really the #1 platform as far as boxing goes outside of Prime.
Damn, that's crazy. I ain't realized that.
Well, Netflix, what I'm saying, they go by what you did, whatever you did in your last pay-per-view. I'm saying, they're gonna go off those numbers, So if Keith Thurman, whatever he did in his last pay-per-view, that's what they're gonna try to pay, or whatever the last promotion they put up. That's what Netflix, kind of like you said, eat what you kill. You know what I'm saying? And they're gonna just compare it to that. I don't know if it's gonna go by the promotion network or it's gonna go by the two fighters themselves, what they kind of generated once they matched up. I don't know how they would do that, going through Netflix, but obviously, the Canelo fight was worth it. 41 million views, 41 million at the gate. No, 46 million at the gate. Obviously, that was worth it. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the most Crawford ever made in his life as far as viewership and money at the gate. So,
Yeah, but I heard they spent a lot of money putting that fight on.
Yeah, it was
they put a lot of money. It was the third highest gate, though. Third highest gate behind Mayweather, Pacquiao, and Mayweather, McGregor. Third highest gate. I think it was 44 million for the gate.
Yeah, 40, whatever. They keep changing it,
Yeah, Mayweather, Pacquiao did like $72 million gate. They still #1 as far as gate goes. They did a crazy gate.
Yeah, but they split that gate. They split that gate. It was profit. That gate was profit. This gate ain't no profit.
Yeah, you're right. They paid Canelo $150 million, and they paid Crawford $50 million. That's the legit purse that they paid those two. Yeah, they didn't make money. They couldn't make no money paying them that much money.
You can still see the fight. You can still see the fight on Netflix today. So that thing's still generating some kind of money for Netflix. Like right now, if you clicked on your Netflix, that fight will be right there.
They had to pay to put the fight on Netflix.
I've watched it. How many times y'all watched the fight?
I done seen it twice.
Twice. I done watched it about 5 times. What about you, JB? How many times have you watched Canelo versus Crawford? JB, can y'all hear me? Hello?
I can hear you, Paul.
Yeah. Okay. JB. JB.
What you thought the second time? Did you see Canelo with the body shots?
Yeah, I saw him, but it wasn't. He wasn't throwing enough. He had a nice little combination. He was hitting Bud on the hip here and there, but Bud was blocking some of that too.
But
So
he was loading up on everything. Bud seen it coming.
yeah, but he always telegraphed his punches. But usually he's quick enough for the 168 pounders that he's
Right.
fighting. He's quick enough to get it off. Bud is a, he's a tactician. They worked on you could tell he worked on the timing of blocking those punches. Every time Canelo would come forward and get on that front foot, Bud was he'll take a little step back. Say he'll put that arm to that body because he knows how Canelo's coming. He got caught a few times. He got confused and tricked a few times when Canelo faked with the left and came with the straight right down the pipe. Um, but he started getting his rhythm. He started figuring Canelo out, and Canelo was connecting less and less with that little shit he does, I'm coming with the left, but I'm going with the straight, coming with the hook to the body, and he'll do it the other way. And it's like, man, that's kind of predictable, And I'm pretty sure they studied these guys. He studied Canelo for like a year. So, I'm just surprised Canelo, they didn't work on anything to negate Crawford's movement and cutting off that ring. I'm surprised that wasn't something that just have a better cut off the ring technique. And even if he would have cut the ring off, looked like he would have got his ass ate up. You know what I'm saying? Because Crawford wasn't playing with them counters, bro. I mean, shit. I mean, every time he went to the inside, Crawford was tearing his ass up. That nigga was like a cat. You know what I'm saying? You know how you corner a cat? Motherfucker cat tear your ass up. I was like,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't think you want to do that. Mm,
yeah, Crawford did a good job
yeah.
establishing his jab. Everything was coming off that jab. He got the jab established early on, and he basically, just outclassed Canelo. Canelo, good fighter, don't get me wrong, but I always said that was just a bad style matchup for Canelo. The way he fight, I thought Crawford's style was all wrong. Kind of like I thought with Spence, actually. And both of those guys are Hall of Fame fighters. But sometimes you get in there with a guy that's, a generation talent, and then you put that on top of the fact that the style ain't really good for your style. It's like a kryptonite to your style. It's just going to make it hard for somebody to beat him. That's why I say he's the best fighter of this era, Crawford.
Yeah, but did you see Canelo face though when he had to be honest? And I really commend him, because he's a proud dude. He started trying to get friendly in the ring and shit. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I'm saying? It's like trying to give Crawford some dap, and Crawford was like, no, nigga, it's on and popping. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh man, what is Canelo doing, man? He looked like he losing his heart, man. It's like trying to get that man some dap, and it was shit. Crawford was ready to beat his ass, bro. And it's like I
Crawford
just
was
knew it
all
was over.
business. He was all
Yeah,
business.
he
He
was ready.
wasn't just so happy to be there type of fighter. A lot of them guys that Canelo fought was just
Right.
happy to be there. Longa, McGill, Charlo, them guys, John
Yeah.
Ryder, them guys just happy to be there. They get 12, they get the 12 rounds with Canelo. They want to be shooting rap videos and all that back in their home country and all that, just doing stuff that winners don't do. You need to be back in the gym working on your craft. But Longa, you go ahead doing rap videos and walk around here like your shit don't stink and stuff like that, man. You ain't nothing but an average fight, and then you got exposed in your last fight. Siraj
Then
stopped
you
you.
gotta think too, that shows you the mentality difference between, saying like a Jamil Charlo. 'Cause I thought Jamil Charlo was gonna come in there like Crawford did this time. I thought he was gonna come in there with that same kind of killer mentality, and he didn't. You know what I'm saying? It just kind of exposed Jamil, I think, what I'm saying? Because Crawford, he came in there, ready to beat Canelo. You could see it in the press conference. And when I saw Jamil with the same press conference, he was just, too demure for me. He was too demure, and he was just too happy to be there and just too respectful. What did Bud say? He said, "I'm for to stump a mud hole in your ass." That's the kind of energy I was looking for with Jamil, you know, and he
Yeah,
just
because
kind of let me
Charlo had that
down.
with everybody else. That's what was so funny about it. Everybody else, he had that type of mindset. But all of a sudden, you got in that Canelo fight. You could see in the press conference. I was like, man, what he doing? He out here calm and talking good. I guess he was trying to say he was trying to give a different light. He didn't want to be all acting a fool. What people say, there go Charlo acting up again. But nah, man, this how you got here. Undisputed at 154.
Yeah.
Keep that same mindset. Don't worry about what them people talking about, man. Be you. He tried to come in there and be a different person. And we saw what happened in the ring.
But like Champ said, we always fight each other harder than we fight, everybody else. You know what I'm saying? I guess, because one thing I give Crawford credit for, he kept it real with Canelo. He said, I'm coming in here to beat you, man. I'm coming in here, everybody's saying this and that, I'm coming in here to take your belts. He's the first one that kept it real with Canelo. Like you said, everybody else kind of laid down for Canelo. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, Jamel, you got the whole Lions only shit going. I thought it was on and popping, you know what I'm saying, when Jamel accepted the fight. But then I saw signs way before when he was talking about Canelo. I think he's the greatest fighter in the world and shit. I was like, well, look at this pussy punk ass shit. You know what I'm saying? I was like, bro, what are you doing? Trying to get the fight? What are you doing? But it's all a business. So, I do think he did what he could do. And he just underestimated Canelo's abilities, and I think he just survived. I think he was good enough to survive. At least he didn't get knocked out. You know what I'm saying? He was able to survive, you know what I'm saying? That shows you that Jamel do have skills and stuff, and I guess everybody would say that, if you running, anybody could survive. But I don't think he was running. I just think, well, I think he just stayed away from Canelo's power. Let's put it that way, so he wouldn't get knocked out. You know, but he did what he could do. He just figured out he just didn't prepare enough to absorb. I think you got to step to Canelo to be able to beat him. You don't have to step to him. That Crawford did the perfect thing. By stepping to Canelo when he did, because they said if you look at scorecards, he needed 11 and 12 to win, because they was going to make it a draw if he didn't did what he did for 11 and 12. If he didn't separate himself like he did, that was going to be a draw, folks. And then it's funny, did y'all see the meme with Andre Ward, where they had Bud winning all 12 rounds? That shit was funny as fuck, bro.
Andre Ward is insane.
They said they had Andre Ward with all 12 rounds for Crawford. I was like, boy, these boys are crazy. You know what I'm saying?
They said they got Andre Ward was going off about people, something about people not respecting Bud or something. I was curious if you had the clip.
No. But I he got that podcast with Roy Jones Jr. And I think they got two of the most interesting legends together. I thought that podcast is going to be hell. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be a hell of a podcast if they keep it going. Andre Ward perspective, and you got two motherfuckers that like to talk. Man, I thought they did a bang up job, man, just talking about the fight. And I think Roy, he's just a little bit too indecisive about his opinions, because he tried to have it both ways at times too much, instead of just saying what the hell he thinks. He'll try to be on both sides and stuff. But when he does make up his mind, it'd be pretty good analyst, But I like them too. Going, giving their opinions and stuff. I think that's the perfect two guy, to have a podcast. I think that's going to be legendary. I think they had like 50,000 views the last time I looked. I was like, God damn. I said, man, they're going to be massive, massive numbers on their podcast. He says, not everyone may agree, but I really want Bud to retire. So he don't need to prove anything anymore. And there's always going to be excuses from people. Not that he will, because there are still fights. I think he'll go on. He might. I really think they're going to rematch. I think Canelo having given Bud this opportunity, I think people are expecting Bud to give Canelo a chance back. Now, if Canelo, don't want that opportunity, you know what I'm saying? If he don't want that face that shit no more, I understand. He didn't want to face
And
Billy.
he said, he had the 4-time undisputed shirt on when he was training. So, which weight class got the quickest route to undisputed?
168.
160. So what they ought to do, they ought to have like a middleweight tournament, like old school back in the day when they had Hopkins and Trinidad in that tournament. They ended up meeting in the finals. They ought to have a tournament, because you got Lara, he's the WBA champion. I think Janabek got the IBF and the WBC title, and I think it's one more champion. It's Lara, it's Janabek, and yeah, Adamus got the WBC, and Janabek got the IBF and the WBA, and the WBA is with Lara. So you have a tournament with Crawford.
Did he lose one? Because it looked like he got the WBO and the IBF, unless it's the old one. Then there's
Janabek got 2 belts. Janabek got 2.
Right.
Adamus got 1, and Lara got 1. Lara got the WBA. Adamus got the WBC, and Janabek got the IBF and the WBO. So you have a tournament. You put Crawford versus Lara, and then you do Janabek versus Adamus. Because Janabek and Adamus, they've been talking about they supposed to been fighting, but they can't come to terms. But you try to get that deal done. Maybe Turkey back this, put the money up behind this, and you do a tournament, and the winners meet. For the undisputed at 160. That's how they ought to do it. Do a middleweight tournament. Crawford, Lara, Janabek, and Adamus. Winners fight for undisputed. Say Crawford win and say Janabek win. You do Crawford, Janabek for undisputed.
I think they had a super middleweight tournament back when Ward was fighting. That was pretty good. You know what I'm saying? That was a pretty good little deal. They had your English guy in there. I forgot what the one Ward beating is bitter to this day. They had a good tournament back then, but you're not going to see too many tournaments now. I think they just had Queensberry versus Matchroom. They just had that. Of course, they had them boring ass fights. I mean, it just depends on, if we could get the promotions to line up,
Yeah, because Adamus, he already found on the Turkey card. Adamus, Crawford's with Turkey. Janabek, he been trying to get on with Turkey, and Lara, he's with the PBC. But you had PBC fighters fight on Turkey cards too. So if they could, they could definitely do a tournament. And it'd be a quick tournament because you basically got 2 fights. Because you got 4 guys right there. Winners fight. Whoever come out on top on the Crawford Lara face the winner of Janabek and Adamus. The favorites probably be Crawford and Janabek. Say they both win, they meet for undisputed.
Yeah. Jamil took a dive for Al because Al wanted Benavidez versus Canelo. Man, he'll never get that fight. He'll never get that fight. I would just be one fight if it, ever, come about. I mean, I do not believe that Canelo is going to fight. I think he just knows he's going to get his ass destroyed if he fight Benavidez. Too much activity. Too much activity.
Yeah, he got 2 fights left with Turkey, so he gonna definitely fight those 2 fights, get that money. So he still might end up fighting Shiraz. They still might make that fight. He fight Shiraz and maybe fight Eubanks, and then maybe call it a career after that. But he definitely ain't gonna get in there with the top people no more. He tried that, he didn't do that after he lost to Bivol, and then he went on and got in there with Crawford. He thought Crawford was too small, and now he got beat again. He not gonna get in there with nobody at the top of the game. He gonna get in there with guys he think he can handle. Shiraz, and guys like that.
I think that Eubanks is only going to fight for Conor Benn. He's going to fight Conor Benn forever. He's going to be like Serrano and Katie Taylor. They're going to fight 15 times. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to go out their career fighting each other forever and ever.
He going to die trying to do that because he is too big for that weight class.
Yeah, I think what he's like, a super middleweight.
He fight at 68.
Right. Super middleweight.
Yeah, he should be at 68. He'd have fought at 68. That fight gonna be ain't that catch weight like 157 or something, maybe 160. It might even be a catch weight. I think it's 157. So he had a hard time in that first fight. He really showed up in the second half of that fight. He took a beating from Conor Benn, and that the weight cut was bad. He ended up in the hospital, I think, after that fight. So hopefully he gonna come in and he gonna cut weight better than he did in that first fight. He won't just take that type of punishment.
Didn't he beat Conor Benn?
Yeah, he beat him by decision.
Yeah, he beat him.
But he took a beating. He was in the hospital after that fight, though. Eubanks took a beating. He went to the hospital after that fight. He took a beating in that fight. Conor Benn took some shots too. He lost, but Conor Benn ain't go. He might have went to the hospital 15 minutes. He wasn't. He stayed at the hospital.
It's kind of funny how history repeats itself. Because didn't Eubanks beat Nigel Benn? You know what I'm saying? Didn't Eubanks beat Nigel Benn? You know what I'm saying? So look like history repeats itself. You know,
Mhm.
That fight was trash
it's
to
just
me. I ain't gonna lie to y'all.
You didn't like that Eubanks
I
Junior?
I
That was a
liked
good
it.
fight.
I
That's your
liked
fact. That's like fight of
I
the year
don't.
type of candidate.
I don't want to see two people fighting at a disadvantage. You got Chris Eubanks coming. You got Conor Ben coming up. He too small. You got Eubanks coming down. He weight drain. Eubanks looking terrible in the fight. Like, I mean, I know it looked good, to the fans or whatever, but to me, I didn't like it. I don't want to see that again. Chris
That's a
Eubanks,
legacy
I don't
fight.
even know how Chris Eubanks made it through that fight. He could barely even stand.
Yeah, he ain't had no
That's
snap on his punches. That was pure will. He got through that fight on pure will. I gotta give him credit because he ain't have nothing. He ain't have no snap on his punches. He was just letting his hands go. He was scoring like amateur style, but he was just outworking Conor. But like you said, that weight cut really affected him.
But y'all got to understand that's a boxing legacy. Those are the sons of legends. You know what I'm saying? And I know that don't mean shit to a lot of people, but you know that's why it's so big, man. You know what I'm saying? Because they come from the son of legends of other legends. And they're continuing the legend, and they're pretty damn good. Most of these sons are sorry as hell. You know what I'm saying? I saw what's his name son get knocked the hell out. Damn, what's his name? Got 44 knockouts. He fought Terry Norris. What was his name? Vergil. Damn, I can't even think of his name. That's a lot of these legacy kids are no good. Joe Frazier's son
No
wasn't shit.
good. That's funny.
I'm just saying. They wasn't, they just wasn't on that level. They just didn't have it. They didn't have what they daddy had,
Wasn't Ricky
basically.
Hatton's son boxing?
Ricky had not. I think he was. I think he was. Look at Vargas. Well, Vargas. I ain't gonna close the door on Vargas because he just got a lot more to learn. I don't want
I
to
think
close
the
the
other
door.
Vargas brother is the best one.
Huh? Yeah, he do got two sons up in
Yeah, that
the
wasn't the
camp.
good one. That was the one that's probably just boxing because this is what the family do.
But he's a little arrogant little motherfucker, isn't he though? Vargas Jr. I mean, he was like all even when he lost, he was like looking all like, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, like dude, you got your ass beat. I guess he was just trying to save face. I don't know, but he just looked like he was kind of eager or something. Like, okay, this is a close one. No, bruh. No, no. This
So
boy
you want to
here.
see the rematch?
No, hell no. He got
Oh,
a lot to work on. He couldn't do shit in that fight. This boy here, this boy here is somebody to watch. I'm gonna
man,
look
that
out
Callum
for him.
Walsh.
Italian wash is food, Paul. Who he finna beat at that weight class?
I'm gonna see.
He
I'm gonna
food.
Right now,
see. I want to see him fight Madronov. I want to see him.
what he at, 168 or 154? I thought it was 154,
I
but
want to
he's
see
at
him fight
154.
Madronov. I want to see him
What weight class is he
154.
at?
No, oh,
Oh,
wait a
okay.
minute. Wait a minute. No, no,
I
no,
was at
no. Super,
168.
super middleweight.
Oh, so
I
it's
don't know
not
why I
junior
keep
middleweight,
trying.
it's
I
super
guess it's
middleweight. Okay.
yeah, super
Well, there's
middleweight.
a lot of
I don't
young,
know
there's a
why I
lot of
keep
young
trying to
guys that
put him
going
in.
to
I guess there's
168.
so many white fighters that you know. Dang,
There's a lot of young
somebody.
guys at
Who's that?
168 outside of
Musgrave?
Crawford. 168, you got Diego Pacheco, you got Hansler Shiraz, you got a lot of young guys. You got Crawford as the king right now, but outside of him, you got a lot of young guys. So Callum Walsh fit right in there, but he'll step behind Shiraz and them guys like that, Diego Pacheco, he'll step behind them guys probably a
I
little bit
just
more
think
advanced than him.
I just like I like the hand speed, man. I like the punch selection, man. I think the boy is
Yeah, I'm
crazy
just saying based on
good, man.
experience,
I
he'll
just
step
see it.
behind them guys. Them
Yeah,
guys
he
have been
gonna
in there
get
with
he gonna
bigger top, they've been in there with better opposition. Callum Walsh, Fernando Vargas probably was his best opposition. Fernando
yeah.
Vargas is a guy that's not going to be no top level fighter, in my opinion. So, he got a chance to get better. It's like I
This
said,
is
that's the division. They
Lima's
ain't got a
record.
lot
I don't
outside of
even know.
Crawford. They don't have a lot of great names. Ain't nobody really prove themselves outside of Crawford at 168 Canelo.
This is Lima's record. This is Lima's record. He's got a little, he got pop, but I just don't see. I don't see how you're gonna match up, man. Like say just 10 KOs, 14 wins, 1 loss.
You know, by the
I
time
just
that
don't see
fight
how you're
come
gonna.
up,
You got a
by
nice
the time that
face.
fight get here, we gonna be excited because we ain't got no boxing for about 3 weeks. So it's not, you know, everybody looking down on that fight right now. But by the time this fight get here, people gonna be excited because we going through a
Yeah,
little stretch. We ain't got no fights coming up for a while here for about 3 weeks. But before Boots fight Lima.
okay.
So,
He got a nice fade for an African because usually this shit be fucked up. You know. Yeah, he got a nice fade, beautiful fade. I mean, they coming up. They must be getting some American barbers in Angola. I don't know what's going on here, but he you know, he looking sharp. You know, when they come to America, they get cleaned up. But yeah, this is his record, man. I don't know. I can't even pronounce them nigga name on the Deep Singh. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Except for all I know is Aaron McKinnon down here was whipping his ass. You know, that's the only person I could see on there. He beat all. If your name ain't common and real, he beat all their ass. But the one dude that name you can read is the dude that tore his ass up.
yeah, that McKinnon fight, it was a competitive fight, but Kennon won though. It was kind of close early on, but I think he didn't know Lima got cut in that fight. He got cut, and then after that, he kind of, you know, McKinnon started separating himself from Lima after the cuts. I don't know if the cut bothered him or he lost confidence. I don't know what happened, or maybe he just faded because,
Yeah,
you know,
he
he had
got
gas
the.
in the tank.
Let me see. And I think that's it. He said Lima got the belt.
Yeah, he
See,
IBO champion. The IBO.
man, he ain't got no. Like Martin said,
Eddie
Tommy,
Hearn
you
tried to
ain't
make
got.
that. Eddie
You
Hearn
ain't
tried to
got
make
no
that belt
belt,
big.
Tommy.
Eddie Hearn tried to
I
make
said,
that belt
man,
big with Anthony Joshua. I mean, he say he's a WBA, IBF, WBO, and IBO champion. He tried to make that belt big. Anybody studying about no IBO? That thing is a secondary belt, man. It ain't no major belt. Don't try to put it up there with them other 3. But Eddie tried to make that
this
belt
nigga
big
got.
when Anthony had it. Joshua had it.
I know. I was like, look at that IBO belt hanging off that fool. I was like, man, are you serious? I was like, are you serious, man? It's like, go throw that shit in the trash. You know. He says Lima got the belt.
Damn, he gonna bring
Yeah,
prestige to the belt.
he got a belt. You know what I'm saying? Tell me he got the belt. Now he got a belt. He says I'm not no longer underestimating good opponents after Karen. Karen is just a good fighter, man. You know what I'm saying? You saw what he made Lomachenko look like. I mean, not Lomachenko, Teofimo Lopez look like. You know what I'm saying? Out there. He made Teofimo Lopez, and you're talking about Shakur Stevenson footwork. You know, just look at that fight to see how it's gonna go with Teofimo Lopez. If Karen can make Teofimo Lopez look crazy out there, imagine what Shakur is gonna do. Beating him to the punch. He's gonna frustrate the shit out of Teofimo Lopez. He's gonna
You
I
talking about
mean,
frustrate.
Shakur? You talking about
Teofimo
Shakur?
quick enough and athletic enough to get to Shakur. I don't know if he gonna do it.
Do you think Karen is quicker than Shakur?
Yeah.
You said
Yeah,
that
quicker than
shit.
who?
She knew what to say just to back up her shit. Come on now, you know that's possible. Come say yeah. You
Oh, Karen, he
crazy as
got a
hell.
fight coming up too. Karen got a fight. I read somewhere he got a fight coming up, but I ain't heard from him since the Boots fight. He took a beat, took some time off after that second fight. But Karen got a fight coming up. I think it's gonna be in his home country though, Lithuania, wherever he at. But he do have a fight coming up. I read that about a week ago. I said, okay, Karen, you coming back, huh? I wonder what happened to you.
Well, let me ask
Stayana's
you a
got a fight
question. Why
coming up too
nobody
in his hometown. Both of them last 2 fights, victims of Boots, they got fights coming up in their home country. So ain't nobody
why
gonna pop his
nobody's
deal.
talking about this the best guy? You know, I mean, he just gave us one of the most spectacular fights. I mean, did you see how he was fighting to the end? How he had to like really turn it on? Because Utez guy, he's really good, man. He's really good. The Cuban. I mean, but nobody's talking about Abez, this dude. Nobody's like mentioning him. Nobody gives a shit. That dude fighting his ass off right now. Shit, I could see him and Vergil Ortiz, man, taking it to the stupid like a hood champion. I had to rep out hood champion for saying take it to the stupid. You know what I'm saying? That's a hood fight right there. You know. But why nobody talking about this guy? I mean, he
You
just
talking about
gave us one of
Taleb?
the fights. No, at junior middleweight, Abez, yeah, that's his name, Abez, right? Yeah, Abez, yeah. Why nobody talking about him?
Chavez,
No,
Chaves.
no, Abass,
Oh, a
Abez,
bad. Oh, okay,
right?
okay.
Why nobody talking about that
I'm
guy?
trying to
That
picture.
guy,
I don't think I seen them fight. A
you
bad.
ain't see? Oh my God, man,
Might have
that
name.
dude,
Yeah, her name ain't ringing no bell.
man,
A
he
bad.
just gave us one of the fights of the year. Let me see if I could get a little bit of
Oh,
that
you was on the
fight.
undercard of the Canelo Crawford?
Let's see that. No,
He
no,
was,
no,
he was
no.
on that
This was
Canelo Crawford
he just got.
undercard?
That's how he got the belt.
Oh, okay.
No,
Was he on that preliminary card or was he on the main event
Let me
card?
see.
Because I caught a couple
I
of
don't
them.
know
I
what
caught the
card he
first
was on,
couple of
but I
them
know.
fights on the preliminary, but then I had to go. I went to a sports bar, met up with some friends, watched the fight at sports bar. So I missed the last couple of them fights on that preliminary.
Let me see if I can cut this down. Okay, I know how YouTube get. Let me see. This dude here. Let's see. Nobody's talking about it.
I saw Crawford stablemate. I see he got beat. He got stopped in the first round. But boy, what's my boy 168? Terrence Crawford stablemate. The boy 168. He from Omaha too. He got stopped by Puerto Rico, a Cuban guy. You talking about the dude that stopped? What's the name? Crawford stablemate.
I'm
You
gonna
talking about
show
him?
you. I'm gonna show you. No,
Yeah, that
let me
boy
show you.
nice. Yeah, that boy nice. He got a nice right hand. He stopped though, boy. That referee stopped that fight too early though. He jumped in and stopped that fight. I'm like, what you doing, man? Let the man. It's the first round. Let the man see if he get himself together. He looked bad though. He looked bad because he kind of stumbled. Once he got him, he kind of stumbled forward. The referee waved off, said no more.
Y'all
That's
see
it.
that?
I was like, damn. I said, oh no, man.
Let me see. I gotta wait for my internet. There you go. Y'all see that?
Yeah,
Now you see how he
yeah.
going in uppercuts. I kind of got to put a look. I'm talking about this shit was good, bro. You got to go back and watch this. Look at this. This dude, he'll be putting it all in the ring, man. Uppercut. Just, I mean, he was. This was like they were just going at it the whole fight. You know what I'm saying? That guy. Nobody
Oh no,
talks
that's
about
not
him
him. That's not
at
the boy I'm
all.
talking about. I think I might have
Okay,
missed this
you
fight.
say you recognize, man. That you got to go back and watch that shit. That shit was fire. You know what I'm saying? That was candidate for a fight of the year right there. You know, he put everything into that. Let me see.
So
Oh,
what
damn,
was
I
he on?
had
He was on that preliminary card, or was he on the main event card?
I mean, I
Well, you
don't
had the
know.
preliminary
I
card
just
that was
caught.
on YouTube.
Let me see.
I
Did
seen
y'all
two
see
fights. I
that?
seen Leon beat Leon, that boy he's in Canelo's camp. That boy nice. He a Cuban. The boy named Leon. He nice. He beat that brother from Cincinnati or something. But that brother, he started boxing late. He was competitive for the first 4 or 5 rounds, but then Leon started separating himself from him after that. You know, Leon, he got an amateur background, more experience. He kind of separated himself. That was a good fight too, though. It went the distance. That was a real good fight. Then I seen
Let me
Crawford
see.
homeboy.
Yeah.
He got knocked out in the first round by that Cuban. That's the only thing I seen on the preliminary. I had to head out. But yeah.
Man, that fight was so goddamn good. It was crazy. That was
Hey,
better
I
than the
sure did. I
damn
missed
Vergil
that.
fight. Yeah, you got to go check that out, man, when you get time. The whole fight they were battling like this. The whole fight. That's how
Oh,
you both
okay.
got the belt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, did you
Yeah.
see
So,
the Steven Nelson fight? You saw the Steven Nelson fight? He got stopped in the first round. Did you see that fight?
man, Stephen Nelson is sorry as hell, boy. You
Man,
know,
he ain't got
that
no
boy talking
fucking
about,
Steve
distance.
Nelson messed up my parlay.
Yeah.
oh, you bet on the fight?
Yeah, I had a little, I put a little something, nothing too major. I don't really be betting on them Real season cards no more.
Mm-mm. You
That
think they
referee stopped that
rigged?
fight too soon, though. That referee should have stopped that fight that early, though. He should let that man get up and see. But if he got dropped one more time, get the end, go on, stop it. But I think he stopped the fight too early myself.
He didn't get dropped.
Yeah, he got, it was a knockdown. He got held up by the ropes, though. You remember, he got held up by the rope, but his elbow fell back of the ropes. His elbow fell back in the ropes, so that's considered a knockdown. The referee kind of, I don't know if he counted that, but he got up and he looked at him. He waved the fight off, so I think it was a knockdown. He was gonna get, it was gonna be a standing eight or one of them, and he stopped the fight. He stopped that fight a little too early, though, for me, though.
Yeah, just say Dark Kent says, I no longer underestimating Boots' opponents after Karen's performance. Yeah, man. These guys still, as you move up, like 2 Cents was saying, just because they're not known, that don't mean they ain't good from the experiences. They gain experience from fighting abroad and fighting different styles. So, we don't know what kind of skills that we're dealing with. What they see in the ring, you come across somebody with a high ring IQ can give you a lot of trouble. I think Boots ran into that. Some people you can't just dominate with athletic ability. You're gonna have to use your smarts to beat them. Get the timing down. Just like that, Madronov gave Crawford problems. You know what I'm saying? Even though he's not on Crawford level, it was his style and his ring IQ that gave him issues, because he just didn't run up in there on Crawford. He did a lot of hopscotching and hiding his timing and stuff. So Crawford had to catch on to that shit, and then once he got him, figured out pretty much. Yeah. Tell what they say his name. Tellez got his ass tore up. Right? Yeah, Abbas. What's going on, fo?
What's going
You
on?
must have said Bud Crawford 3 times in a row. God damn it! You said Crawford name 3 times in a row. Fo gonna pop up.
Stop,
That's
man.
like King
Nah.
Judah. You say Devin Haney 3 times. Boy, King Judah gonna pop up in the building. God damn.
No, just checking in with you, see what you guys was rapping about. That's all.
What we talking
Hey,
about?
Pool, they was
Boots.
mad at me last night, Pool, because I say Terrence Crawford, the Robert Oria boxer.
Yeah, no, I remember. I thought that shit had me rolling, bro. I said, "Hey, Robert Ory." When you said Robert Ory got 7 rings and Jordan only got 6, that shit had me rolling. I was like, I think I typed Art Roby is a support. He's a support player, so that's the difference. But boy, you had me rolling with that. I was like, oh my god. That's the one player he can't say he got more rings than he cannot do it. What's going on, fo? What's happening, bro?
Oh, everything's good, man. Just seeing what you guys was
So
rapping. Just
how do you loving this Bud celebrity thing he's doing on Monday Night Football? He's on McDonald's commercials. You know what I'm saying? He's walking. I think Walt Disney he's done took the place of Mickey Mouse. He's all over the goddamn place. He's like viral. He's gone viral.
yeah.
Everybody want a piece of him. You enjoying this?
Um, yeah. I mean, it's cool. I just wouldn't. I just can't. I just want to see him in the ring again. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm just waiting
It's
on
good.
I'm just waiting on because he gonna go 4-time undisputed. So that's what I'm waiting on. I'm waiting for him to kind of share that with the world.
Against
What
who?
weight class?
160.
So who got all the belts at 160?
So at 160, you got Janabek, you got Adamas, and
You
you
got
got the
two?
other dude,
Laura.
Laura.
Laura. Yeah, you got 4, right? I think was it Janabek, Laura, and Adamas.
Janabek got
Adamas, yeah.
So who gonna unify the division before he go get the belts?
I'm thinking
Oh
that
yeah, okay.
I'm thinking 2 out of the 3 fighters gonna fight, right? And then it is gonna be 2 fighters left with belts. And then I think he's gonna go down there, fight one, grab those belts, and then fight the other one for undisputed.
Or he gonna try to let them all fight each other and then just try to just fight the one dude. I know that's
They
fucked
ought to,
up.
like I was saying earlier, they have a proposed middleweight tournament. You have Crawford versus Laura, and then you have Janet Beck versus Adamas in the
Oh,
winners
that'd
meet
be
disputed. That's what
now
they,
that'd
that's
be
what that'd be easy.
that'd be banging right there.
Yep.
I think Adamas, man, he tried to rely on his power too much. He got skills, he got a few skills, but I think he tried to like overpower and overwhelm people. I think he'll leave himself open, and I think Crawford to pick him apart. Laura would be an interesting fight for Crawford. I think he's a little too old for Crawford. Janabek, that's an interesting fight. And I don't think they're smart enough to beat Crawford at 160.
No.
Well, we know
Nah.
Crawford was giving Adames trouble in sparring, so we know that. So I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue.
Yeah,
Laura,
but that's sparring. You're talking about sparring, bro. But I think he's just a better fighter than Adames, though, overall. Fighting is like Floyd said, sparring is sparring, but you get in the limelight, it's different.
I agree. That's fine. I agree.
But I do think Crawford is way better than Adames. I've seen what he could do in the ring. Not impressed.
And
What's going on with Charles? Go ahead.
Going on who?
No, I was just kind of wondering, anybody seen Charles Cromwell? What's going on with him? He's just like kind of disappeared, faded off
I
the
mean,
scene.
come on, after that loss, man, people, you know how it go, man. People,
Yeah.
they lose a little steam, and now it's just funny. I don't know, man. This whole boxing stuff is funny. When Conwell was looking like something, everybody was like, he was like a sleeper. He was impressive. Everybody, he lose one fight, he automatically is not even like talked about no more as a possible threat. So it's just wild.
Yeah.
I still think Canelo's a threat, to be honest with you. To be real,
I think they're gonna run it back. I really do. I don't know.
Not if he gonna be 4-time undisputed. I don't see him running it back.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna run it back now. I think Canelo gonna get like a tune-up fight or just something to remind the public that he's still him, and then maybe later. But
how Turkey gonna support a 160 undisputed when he talking about Benavidez? Like he wants something crazy for Crawford.
Well, I honestly think Steve, one thing is I think Turkey left it vague on purpose to get the people talking. I don't think Turkey wants Benavidez and Crawford. He knows that
he already tried to make the fight before at 160.
He did. That was before the Canelo was set in. You know what I mean? When he was trying to look for a good super fight. But I personally think he's gonna go to 168 potentially to see if he can offer it to Canelo.
Offer with Benavidez to Canelo?
Yep, that's what I think. I think he said that to set up a fight with Canelo and Benavidez.
You think Canelo gonna fight Benavidez after he lost to Crawford?
I think if the money's right, I think he'll do it. But Benavidez already stated that he ain't going to 168.
He would have been fought Benavidez if he was gonna fight Benavidez for real.
But
he definitely about to fight him now.
One thing y'all underestimate, because Canelo's still gonna bring in the viewership, no matter that he lost. His people gonna stick with him. So that's still, they don't believe that Canelo is done. They're gonna support him no matter what. So whoever he fights is gonna be a big fight. People don't tend to like Crawford. You know what I'm saying? For some reason, I don't know about now what this victory is gonna do for him, but people tend to don't like Crawford. You know what I'm saying? Not the way they're gonna support, not the way they're gonna support Canelo. I think Canelo.
I agree.
But who knows? This victory may turn his luck around.
Now, I hope it don't, man. To be honest with you, I hope it don't. I hope Crawford just stay who he is and stay in the shadows, and just real people that understand will appreciate him. All that other stuff, we can leave that to other fighters, man. And that's what makes Crawford special to me. Like, I get it.
I don't think other fighters do anything special. Besides, I think the only thing different is just doing the interviews with Crawford. I think he's misunderstood because he stays to himself. You know what I'm saying? And didn't really want to reach out. And let people know who he really was. You know what I'm saying? I think this is the only difference in Crawford's career is him just reaching out and doing the interviews and talking shit, saying he's going to stomp a mud hole in Canelo. You could say that was out of Bud's character, but how do we know? Because he never really, really came out like that, except for with Spence and Canelo. We never really seen him animated like that. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the only reason why he didn't get the accolades and shine before, because he, you never let his personality out. You saw what he did when Angel Reese, you could tell he an OG, because when Angel Reese came in there, like she came in there like somebody was going to be impressed. You know what I'm saying? Crawford just looked at her ass like, what's up? You know, what you want an autograph? You want a picture? Okay, cool. All right, bye. You know what I'm saying? That shit was crazy as hell. Everybody thought she came in there like everybody was supposed to faint or something when she
Yeah,
walked in
Crawford
there.
spoke.
But nah.
Oh, he spoke. He spoke.
He was like, he said, Bud joined the Illuminati, shaking my head. He says, brothers, of course you going there. And Benavidez is Canelo's best comeback fight. It's Canelo's best. Benavidez is oh shit.
Let me ask you
Hey.
let me ask y'all a question. When Andrade was at his heights, did y'all view Andrade as like a threat, like a fighter that was a threat to, let's say, Canelo?
Yeah. Yeah, he had the skill set.
Yeah.
He
So
had the style that give Canelo problems. He's a boxer
perfect.
too.
I agree too. So let me ask you a question, Paul. Being that Andrade had the personality, had the charisma, did the interviews, said things that was, got people talking, and he had the skill set, why didn't Andrade's career turn out the way to where he could fight all of the quote unquote names in XYZ? Why didn't that turn out for him, sir?
Because he went to the zone. And they shelved him. You know what I'm saying? They put him over there and they kept him distracted away from Canelo, which what they was trying to do. It was the same thing they was trying to do to Deontay Wilder. You know, they was gonna cuff him for that money, and they was gonna keep AJ away from him. That's what they did to Boo Boo. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
He went to the wrong promotional company. Then at the end, once he caught on that he was just going to be fighting these endless, they tried to feed him the Janabak. They tried to feed him the Janabak. He was like, "Hey, wait a minute, y'all not going to allow me to fight Canelo." And Canelo went on to other networks and all kind of shit. You know what I'm saying?
Another
Go
question, Paul. When Deontay Wilder, when Charles Martin was with PBC, correct? Was that Charles Martin when he fought AJ and AJ took the belt off of him?
Yep.
When
Charles Martin, right? That's Charles Martin, right? Why didn't PBC set the fight up between Wilder and Charles Martin? Because Wilder had a belt. Charles Martin had the belt. Tell me.
Charles Martin, they got offered more money by Matchroom. Eddie Hearn
Yeah,
had all the money. He was giving out all this money, man. So and he was like, he looked at the money that they were offering. He looked at the money that Matchroom was offering, and he went Matchroom. Matchroom had $1 billion budget behind them, and they were killing the game. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they was freezing him out everywhere. Deontay Wilder looked. You know what I'm saying? He was just getting outpriced. You know what I'm saying, for these belts. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wanted to fight him with his little dinky money. When you got Eddie Hearn, he was collecting belts like Thanos. You know what I'm saying? They just had too much money on their side. You know, Charles Martin was not about to fight. Go ahead.
Because the only reason I'm asking is that as a company, I would think that PBC would have pushed for that in-house fight because of what it would have done for Wilder's career. Because I think that belt, because that would have made Wilder what if he would have got that belt?
WBC
unified. Yeah, he was
unified, right? Unified, right?
What I'm saying is, Charles Martin knew he wasn't going nowhere. He knew he wasn't going nowhere. He wasn't going to be no damn unified champion. So he sold the belt to Eddie Hearn. I bet you they made one of them phone calls. Hey man, I'm going to pay you such and such, and don't fight Deontay Wilder. You know what you're going to do as a fighter. You really know you're not. You're not the top notch skill level. I mean, Charles Martin ain't too bad, but
No, I got you. I got you. The reason why I'm asking, to be very honest, is like, I don't know why people think that, having what they perceive to be a quote unquote personality is going to put you in a position, because I've seen fighters with the personality that go nowhere. Blair Cobb's got personality, didn't mean nothing. You know what I mean? It's like, that's just a narrative that I just think is just not all the way true. I understand it does help, but there is more behind the scenes that just goes into just having a personality, because at the end of the day, there's also just politics involved, money involved. Like you just said, Charles Martin went where the money was. Well, I mean, he was a PBC fighter. We know that PBC, can dictate whatever's going to go on. So I think it's safe to say that maybe PBC, saw the money opportunity and said, hey, we're going to give this off. We're going to send him over there rather than letting, our own stablemate right here go ahead and fight and become unified, which is going to improve Wilder's obviously status and so on and so forth. So what it looks like to me and what it always has been is that the games between the PBC, promotional companies, that they get behind closed doors and they work deals out. And ultimately it affects the career of some fighters that are actually great and some we just never get a chance to see because they're just washed up in the game of, politics, to be honest with you. That's why I mentioned Boo Boo, because Boo Boo has great personality. He's a great fighter, but yet and still, look where his career is at now.
I think he's corny as hell, tell you the truth.
I think so too. Me personally,
I just think he's corny. I don't think he has a great dynamic charisma and none of that shit. I just think he's a California weirdo.
Who you talking about? You talking about Boo Boo Andre?
Andrade. Yeah.
He's from Rhode Island.
He's from Boston. He's from Boston. He's not
Rhode Island. He's from Rhode Island.
He's a skateboarder. Now I rock with him because I love his skill, but he don't have that. Even when you remember that time he went there and talked shit to Canelo, and he was trying to rush him. That shit felt like, bruh.
Yeah, he's from Rhode Island. He's not from Cali though. But I got you. Though. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah.
Me personally, I agree with you. I think he's corny. But what I'm saying is that he tried to do all those antics that we think are gonna get you somewhere. The antics, we saw David Benavidez trying to be outspoken to get somewhere, and it didn't get him nowhere. You follow me? He ends up having to go to 175.
Yeah, that's for them. There are certain fighters that generational talents that it will work for. You know what I'm saying? I think Bud is a generational talent.
No,
I think his fighting worked for him.
I agree.
I see how people respond to his fighting in the ring. I think if he just
I agree with you. Unfortunately, though, Paul, what you're saying right now, that wasn't that wasn't revered many years ago, but collectively. So yeah, I could recognize that that's a great fighter, but even when he was being a great fighter, it was always downplayed because then it became, well, you're only a great fighter because of look who you're challenging, look who you're going against. You follow me? So now that he's passed certain tests, we can all say, okay, certain people could be like, okay, now it's official. Like there's no denying it. You know what I mean? I'm just saying Top Rank played him. This is my opinion. Top Rank shelved him because Top Rank, Bob Arum didn't want him to fight Pacquiao. PBC controlled the welterweight division. So it's like, and there was no guarantee that signing. So it's kind of sad because it's almost like I feel like people are left to just say this. Well, I think if his personality was a little bit more, he would have gotten the fights that he wanted. And I don't agree with that entirely. That's all I'm saying. I think having a personality
aspect. I just think you kind of like putting everything around that one aspect.
Okay. And I digress. I digress. Then you're right. You're good.
I think you possessed by Black Jesus right now. You know what I'm saying? Right now.
You funny. Hey, you funny for it. Hey, bro, stop. Stop, bro.
No, I feel you. I feel you. Let me see. I think, Bud, it all worked out for him in the end. He found the right connections, just like everybody else was doing. Getting with the people that could put you over the top. I thought it was highly suspicious when Bud and Tyson Fury. I was just kind of leery of that whole situation with Canahan on the loose. Nobody knew what the hell was going on behind the scenes. That's when Bud was hooking up with the Turks and stuff during that time because he was over with Tyson Fury. Nobody knew what Bud was doing over there. And I think right then, I think he took a trip over to Saudi Arabia. And nobody really knew what was going on. And he was making connections. He was learning the politics of the game. And I'm happy for him that he got in the game and finally got somebody to support him.
Understood.
To sponsor him. And it worked out for him. I mean, now he's 3 times undisputed champion. How can we, hate on that? You know what I'm saying? So, the man came out on top, what's next for him? Who do you want to see Bud fight next?
Well, for me, I just wanted to go to 160 and become undisputed there. Okay. He had a shirt that said, people, I don't know if people caught it, right before Canelo, he had a shirt saying 4 times undisputed, He had undisputed 4 times.
Which one would you like to see him fight first
Um,
at 160? Who? Laura? You
I,
got Laura. You got Carlos Adames. He probably beat the shit out of Carlos Adames.
I think he should go. I think he should go because there's only there's three champions down there, right? It's Adames, Laura. I thought there was there was 4 champions, but I guess there's
I
only 3.
think Janabek
Janabek got 2 belts. Janabek got 2 belts.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I want Janabek last. Let that be the fight for undisputed. I say take out Laura first.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm saying have a middleweight tournament. It just makes too much sense. Middleweight tournament. Crawford, Laura, and Janabek and Adames. Winners meet. You know, that'd be perfect. Adding a spice to the middleweight division because it's been dead for a minute.
Yep, that'd be nice.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love that. You know, I wonder how many people will go for it without trying to make waves and shit. You know what I'm saying? How many people would actually sign up for that? You know?
You got to worry about the guys that's mandatories. They might be saying, wait a minute, why we ain't in it? But you know,
didn't they try to do a tournament at 135, but Teofimo Lopez was the only bastard to back out of it. I think he was the only person to back out of the tournament at 135. It's like that dude right there, man. It's like that dude is a wet blanket in boxing. But you know, I commend him for taking that Shakur Stevenson fight because that's definitely a risk. That's definitely a high risk.
Oh, that fight has been confirmed. Is it signed? Is it ready to go?
It's close. It's not official. It's close.
I thought Shakur said this shit is Shakur. He's just ready. He's just ready.
We're waiting on Teofimo to accept that money. He's supposed to be getting like $6 million for the Shakur fight. So he took a big pay cut for what he would have made if he'd have fought Boots or Devin Haney. But you got to take that because better than sitting on the sideline.
He better stay away from Boots, man. You know, I mean, he better stay.
He was gonna fight Boots. Boots didn't want to fight him. Boots wanted to fight the champions at 147. He couldn't get them. He wanted to move up, so he never wanted to entertain Teofimo.
The more I think about it, the more I think that's a really great fight because Teofimo Lopez. I don't think Boots would be moving on Teofimo. That's a good fight. I don't think he'll be moving on Teo. Teo will probably be moving on Boots and trying to box Boots. You know, that would be right up to that.
You're trying to counter Boots. You know, Boots is kind of offensive-minded fighter. If he comes forward, that's going to be what Teofimo going to want. He's going to try to counter him. But I think Boots dies.
Boots would have beat the career out of Teofimo Lopez. It'd have been Mikey Garcia 10.0.
Yeah, I think he would have worn down, but it's been an interesting fight. I think his size, athleticism.
Man, that wouldn't have been no interesting fight. Y'all got to stop this.
Styles make fights too, sis.
I would like to see it. I would like to see it because I think Teofimo Lopez, he athletic. You know what I'm saying? You know, he you know, if you put him on the back foot, he's not that good on the back foot. You know what I'm saying? He's not that good. Well, really, he ain't that good on the front foot. He kind of, you know, his offense is a little, you know what I'm saying? You know, unless he's faster than you, you know what I'm saying? His offense is just a little crazy. It's just a little off. You know, when he fought Karen, I think he said in the corner, "Do I still have it? Do I still have it?" I was like, "This boy is pathetic."
Oh yeah, Sandor Martin, yeah.
Yes, Sandor Martin. That's who it was, Sandor Martin. Yeah. I said, Sandor Martin doing you like that, son? You know what I'm saying? Sandor
Martin got a difficult style. He got talking about styles make fights. That guy Martin got a difficult style. Ain't nobody gonna look good fighting him. It's gonna be it's gonna be one of those fights where you're gonna be like, who won? I don't know. It's kind of tight. It's you know. Same thing when Palo fought him. Palo fought Martin, and it was a tough fight. You know, I kind of thought Martin beat Palo. It was close. Could have went either way. He got a difficult style though, Sandor Martin.
Yeah, but shit. You know what I'm saying? Imagine Boots up in there, man. Boots would be up in his ass, bro. I just want to see him get beat. I ain't finna lie to you. I want to see somebody beat T.O. ass. You know what I'm saying? He get on my nerve with all his antics outside the ring. I just want to see him get his ass beat. You know. But would it be crazy if he decided to fight Devin and he destroyed Devin? Man, that would be hard. Ooh, that'd be hard to take.
Yeah, he had his chance, but he turned the fight down. He could have fought Devin. Devin fighting Brian Norman Jr. It's supposed to have been Devin
fought Devin.
Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo could have fought Devin.
Yeah.
That's why Devin fight Brian Norman Jr. because Teofimo Lopez turned the fight down.
How y'all see that fight going?
I actually like Brian Norman Jr. to win that fight. I like Brian Norman Jr. to win.
I think Devin gonna outbox him.
I got Devin.
Yeah,
I like Brian. I like the power, but I like the timing, man. A lot of people talk about his power, man. He got great timing. Brian Norman Jr. He's a good fighter.
He got great timing.
Yeah, he got great timing. He's very. I think that timing gonna give Haney problems. Haney probably got the advantage for speed, but it ain't like Brian Norman Jr. is slow. But I would give the edge to Haney as far as speed goes. But I think Brian gonna be able to time that speed. I think he's gonna stop Devin.
Brian Norman not that good. He like I feel like he being real hyped up.
Yeah, I think he'll stop Devin. Maybe stop him late.
Yeah, I don't see, if you come into Brian, he's dangerous, but if you box him, if you box him from a distance, you can win. You could beat him, because I forgot what the name of that Italian dude name was. They went life and death up in there.
Sicilian.
I forgot what his name. He was an Italian guy, man. They went life and death up in that thing. I didn't really see him separate himself until the end, maybe the middle to the end. He started to get his, So I don't know. His skill level ain't like outstanding. He's definitely got some good versatility, punching versatility. He got some heavy hands. He got a good inside game, but I don't see, something where he's going to pursue somebody down that's boxing him. We got to see if he can cut that ring off.
I don't see Devin fight nobody he don't think he gonna beat. Like I just don't see him. Think about how good he been, maneuvering and matchmaking this whole time. Like why all of a sudden he just gonna jump out the window?
It's just they probably think they can outbox Brian Norman Jr. And he had to take this type of fight to make the type of money that Devin Haney is accustomed to making. Turkey not gonna pay him a lot of money to fight scrubs. He got to fight. He want that type of money he made in the Ramirez fight where he made like $10 million. You got to fight a guy like Brian Norman Jr.
That man did not make no $10 million. JB Sports, stop it.
I just go by what the reports say. I really don't know what none of these guys make. What was reported was he made $10 million for the Jose Ramirez fight. Ryan Garcia made $20 million for Rolly. Rolly made $5 million. I don't know what Teofimo Lopez and Barbosa made. They purses wasn't reported, but those 4 fighters that fought on the co-main and main event, their purses was reported to be that. So I don't know if it's a lie or people making it up, but that's what I heard. Ryan had got 20, Rolly got 5, Devin got 10. I can't remember what Ramirez got, but yeah.
Well, unless they rent them cars, I don't know how many cars. Yeah, I think he got quite a few high-priced vehicles. Unless he renting them, boy, he doing all right. Look like, he doing all right. Who Devin? Yeah, he doing okay for a young man. We got to give that man his props. They rich. They set. I like seeing that.
Devin been making good money. He's making good money with Matchroom. He's over there with Eddie Hearn. He's making about $3 to $4 million a fight over there, fighting Jojo Diaz and guys like that. Jorge Linares. He's making good money.
Shit,
so he's able to get those.
We're about to see 2 Cent. You gonna be a promoter, manager, or something like 2 Cents once your kids turn pro.
And you know what I'm saying? Probably be on my Bill Haney.
I was saying, you know where I was going. You already knew where I was going.
Bill Haney.
I'm gonna be on my Bill. You ain't never heard nobody mama talking shit.
Yeah, I know. It's like it's gonna be a beautiful thing. You're gonna give me an interview once you get big.
Of course.
No kind of box. Yeah, shit. Yeah, like, hey, remember me now when you get big. Now your kids started.
Hey, I got some news on that Jake Paul Tank Davis fight. That fight not happening in Atlanta. They didn't want to sanction that fight, so they're gonna have to move that fight somewhere else.
In Miami, I think 2 Cents they moving into Miami or something like that.
Yeah. They trying to find a place that's gonna legitimize that fight. They don't want that fight to be an exhibition because it's an exhibition. People gonna say, "Oh, this is WWE. It's scripted. Them guys gonna go 50%. They're not gonna go 100%. They probably gonna have a deal where they ain't gonna hurt each other, this, that, and the third. And then people gonna take it, whatever happened, they gonna say it was fixed and it was a script and all that. So they don't want to be in that category.
They gonna say that regardless.
Well, if it's a sanctioned fight and not an exhibition, I think they'll probably take it a little more serious. Now they're gonna have a press conference Monday. They're supposed to have a press conference. Jake Paul and Tank Davis announcing the fight. So, from what I heard, what Tank Davis said, he said he gonna put hands on Jake Paul. So I don't know if he just trying to sell a fight or what. And Jake Paul already been talking trash to Tank. So if they sanction it as a real fight, I think it's gonna be. Even if it's an exhibition, I think it's gonna be a real fight. I don't think it's gonna be no script.
How? They ain't even in the same weight class.
They like 100 pounds apart. This shit makes no sense. It makes no sense. Even when they make the fight, it's gonna make it makes 0 sense. And that's why when everybody was like Tank fighting Jake Paul, I'm like, I mean, I don't care if Tank fight Jake Paul, but it makes no sense. Like it still don't make sense. And they making the fight. And I'm like, this shit is crazy. But people want to see it. This shit broke the internet.
Yeah, it's crazy. Right. It's crazy. With the weight difference, how they gonna legitimize that fight? It's just, but Tank probably think he can outbox him. He like, man, because Tank been fighting since he was 7 years old. Jake Paul just been fighting the last 3 or 4 years, so the experience is to the advantage of Tank. Now Jake is a naturally bigger guy, way bigger.
Jake Paul still slapping punches. He fight like an amateur. He don't even fight like a good amateur.
Yeah, right. I think Tank think he can outbox him probably. Jake has got a little bit better though. He ain't he got a little better. He got like a little slick style of fight. He got the little left hand down. He fight from a distance, got the right hand cocked, and he kind of hitting you with the jab from the outside. And
he fighting 60-year-old men.
Yeah. He beat Chavez Jr. last fight. Chavez Jr. was a former champion, so that was a win over a real boxer.
Man, that nigga was trash.
Come on, man. Come on. Jake Paul is the gimmick, and I appreciate it though. I'd appreciate it.
Didn't he get caught with steroids, something in the system? He had, I think he had steroids.
You talking about Chavez Jr.?
Yeah.
I don't know, but he just got caught by ICE.
Yeah, he in trouble, man. They say he worked for the cartel. He was the hitman for him. He get them guys and beat them up and get them to tell them the info on their enemies, where they at, where they located. They said Chavez was in the cartel being the hitman for the cartel. I was like, what? Talking about Chavez Jr., the man that was eating Cheerios in his drawers before the Sergio Martinez fight. That Chavez Jr., you say he a hitman for the cartel? I was like, God damn. He must be hard up for money.
I remember when Chavez used to carry him around on his damn on his hip and shit. I remember him.
That boy moved his furniture, and that boy had a sparring session. We was getting ready for Sergio Martinez. That boy didn't want to go to the gym, so that boy said, "Nah, we can spar right here. We can shadow box right here." That boy moved the couch, the love seat, and everything. That boy started sparring in his Freddie Roach had to come to his house and work with him. That boy was working in his living room, working on the jab and shadow boxing. I was like, "What this dude here? This dude here is spar, man. Silver spoon in your mouth. This dude here ain't serious at all."
Jake Paul gonna be in there looking like a cartoon character trying to swing and punch Tank. He only good. His stamina only good for 2 or 3 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He just
that's big shoes to fill, though. Julio Cesar Chavez, man, that's huge, man. That's like Canelo if he had a son. You know what I'm saying? Look what he gonna have to do, man, to impress, the boxing world. Or like Michael Jordan's sons, they had to. Those are big shoes to fill, man. None of his sons ain't do shit.
Yeah, he did become a champion though. He won a belt. Didn't he beat Andy Lee and became a middleweight champion? But he did do a little something. But he just wasn't a disciplined fighter, Chavez Jr. So he
probably doing all that. Probably doing the bricks.
He in serious trouble now though. He got arrested by ICE. He's facing some major charges, so he gonna get put away for a while. Where it's looking.
Hey, 2 Cent, what happened to that one dude that you used to subscribe to? I think he came on the show one time. That used to rock with him. He was pretty good.
Oh, Ross.
Is that his name?
The boxing outlet.
Yeah, the boxing outlet. Whatever happened to him?
Man, his dad died, and then It was just everything kind of just went up from there. He just ain't never really been back.
He was good. He was starting to get his shit going too.
Man, we was hot over there. We had like 2 million views in like 2 months.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, I think I hit like 2 million views a while back. You know what I'm saying? But I've
I
been
was
on it
like,
for a minute.
damn, I couldn't believe we had that many views. But you know, that was right after the Spence fight, and we was going in, and everybody wanted to argue. So it was wild over there.
Yeah, I was wondering. I hadn't heard, about his channel or nothing like that. Last time I went in, he was like doing products and stuff. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Man, get it popping. Yeah, I had missed out the way. I had lost track of him. I keep track of so many. I got so many channels, to pop up on, and I just missed a few. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I'm tired. I'm finna get the hell on. Go get me something to eat. And of course, if we open tomorrow, we'll come on back on and talk some more shit about this boxing stuff. Thank you for coming up. 2 cents, JB Sports. You know how we do. Get it
Peace
going.
out, y'all.
All right, salute y'all.
All right, Brotherhood Sports, Charles and Stark Kent and everybody. Peace out, everybody.
All right,
See you in the
peace.
next one. All right, now.